So,
Alright. So when are you going to burst, Asu? Because it's your birthday.
Yes.
Anyway.
You'll find out.
after running into former mentor Passion Creed, Mozaver, you followed to the park for some catching up and some training. Okay, just make sure. Yep, there we go. Your practice and conversation, however, was interrupted by a group of assassins apparently aiming to claim your life. After that scare, thankfully some of your friends came to your aid, allowing you to dispatch the attackers quickly. That wouldn't be the last of deadly encounters, however, as shortly after leaving the park, a strange series of events took place that narrowly avoided causing you serious harm. Upon escaping the busy streets of Birkel and returning to the bubbling top, you relayed your story to your gathered friends, and Odigos revealed to you just how strange and fickle your particular fate is. Foul play seems certain. You all learned about the current situation with the champions and guards opposing on Ecclesi. Thankfully, this concern does not seem to be one you needed to worry about long, as the champions of Azimuth and Aria, as well as the champion of Horizontes, paid you all a visit, seeming eager for a more diplomatic encounter this time. Although confrontation seemed likely, Anaclesa decided to dispel all doubts of her intent and roll from all of the gods at once, taking a gamble to demonstrate irrefutable proof of her purpose. She then began to sing a beautiful yet terrifying hymn that seemed to resonate through the very world itself. However, in her doing so, she exhausted her essence, forcing her to retreat back into her divine spark for the time being, leaving you all with a note of thanks and a rather curious suggestion added onto the end of it. We now stand before the stunned, small goddess of stars and the spark of the chronicler lying on the table. And as we begin, with Jasmine now jumping to her feet and slamming her hands down on the table. Okay, someone wanna explain what the fuck she just did? It's like a whole fucking planet just started singing with her or some shit.
Well, first things first, I'm gonna do what I can to safeguard that spark.
Alright, so then as you're running to go get that...
Azimuth crosses her arms with a bit of a difficult expression. That was the song of creation. It's how greater beings channel their divine power, as well as how they communicate to us higher beings. They use it to literally mold entire new worlds into existence from ether and shape them to their desired design. As their children, we all innately recognize and understand the song of creation, though we're incapable of using it. However, Anaclesi just displayed that not only can she use it, she can actually speak through it. As Azimuth then trails off, the soft and gentle voice from earlier speaks up in your mind. Just now she spoke to all of us higher beings. This is irrefutable evidence that she is indeed our mother's creation, for there's no other way she could have possibly gained the ability to do so as a higher being. She explained to us all who she is and what her role is, and how she literally saved this world from the brink of oblivion. At that, she falls silent, before Azimuth lowers her head and continues. To think that she harbored such secrets, such burdens. And to think that so many of us went so far out of our way to attempt to destroy her. She, our eldest sister, our mother's last hope and savior of our world. To say this leaves a bad taste in the mouth doesn't even cut it in the slightest. She lets out this long sigh before looking back up to you all. I apologize, because this is my fault she's like this right now. I only intended to poke at her to try and get some sort of response, other than her simply being evasive. I had no idea she would react so strongly like this. Then again, I also had no idea her spark was so different, or that the one she once carried was her daughter.
If I could frown, I would be.
With that, Bosk stands up heads towards the door and opens it, leaving for Aswald's.
You gonna leave already? Alrighty.
Yep. We have no time to waste. Let us meet back here later.
As you do that though.
What
So-
else? Okay. I didn't
Your
read
footsteps
those
behind you.
effects. What do you say?
As you do that, you hear footsteps behind you.
Boss will turn and take a look.
You see Alia looking at you.
What is it? You look puzzled.
I wish to speak with you alone outside for a few moments, Storm Herald. It will not be long. And she turns towards Azimuth. Lady Azimuth. What do you do, Bask?
Waiting. Very well. As long as it will not be a repeat of what happened merely. How long has it been since she almost beat my ass?
30 minutes, maybe.
She raises her hand. Do not fear, for I do not seek retribution. You were simply acting in your defense and interest, and as was I.
I simply hope that all the higher beings understand why my actions, as well as the Skybreakers, the Storm Queen's actions, were so seemingly irrational. I am sorry I could not do anything in time.
Who are directing that to?
Essentially, in a line, looking at Azimuth and Codex.
Ah, okay. Mm.
1 second.
Okay.
By the way, what did Anaclesis say about Minerva again?
You seem to indicate
That
that they
she-
say.
That she's I believe that she indicated that Minerva and Gerald are both already tethered to their respective.
No, it's like a postscriptum. Okay, yeah, I found it. It might be of interest to you to assist the High Elf of Pinnacle Mortal Brilliance with her first task, for you all first and foremost. As for why, that I cannot say, only that it will now be more difficult because of this action, unfortunately. Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think you want us to help Minerva first.
Just me, or is all this fucking kind of robot-y?
Oh,
A little
You
bit.
little robotic, but still understandable.
okay.
My button, look at the
Yeah.
button there.
Okay, I'll be right back.
Alright.
But
Okay.
the problem, yeah.
Mold Earth to those champions. Since you're on this important circus, I'm free to serve an object lesson to not assume malice like proof as such. I apologize comes to judgment since so may not go. Now's just a circumstance.
Felix then looks to you, Codex. Suffice to say, the situation has changed a little bit. He then points to Azimuth. Though I think Azimuth has something she'd like to say to you all.
Say, oh, go on.
If you wouldn't mind, whenever you are finished with what you are. Bleh. Whenever you're finished, please come back. There's something I'd like to say to all of you. Azimuth
Wait,
says to
which
you, Bask.
Oh,
How's Azimuth?
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
That's only my
Speaking of-
third of the longest time today.
Speaking of which, I was going to ask a question regarding Azimuth. She is the goddess of navigation, right?
She's the
Stars.
goddess of stars, navigation, and exploration.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. Actually, I'm now thinking, do gods even give blessings in this world?
Starlight.
Considering
and-
Xenophon has literally blessed you guys, I think so.
Yeah, because I'm thinking if she's the goddess of navigation, stuff like that, couldn't she potentially, like, you know, as an apology, potentially give us a little boost to accelerate our travel?
Perhaps.
Who knows? But yeah, right here, Bun Bun.
Yeah, Azimuth looks to Starlight before beckoning her over, who immediately comes to fly before the goddess. The two sadly look towards one another for a few seconds before Starlight gives a small salute. Azimuth then hands her a small cup before she flies back over to Felix, who then takes it from her with a shrug.
Well, I guess that's our cue to skedaddle then. It was a pleasure meeting you all, by the way. Do take care and good luck to you all. And, kind of looks around the room
Yes,
with a bit of a wry smile.
good luck in your
And
endeavors.
sorry about the inconvenience.
Occurred odd. Because still not exactly happy, all things considered.
you roll insight, like all you guys.
Boss
Okay.
the boss could have stopped at this point, looking at Azimuth. As she said that she has something she wished to address all of us.
Yeah,
Oh,
natural 20, nice.
I feel like that's narratively appropriate.
Oh yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, so
19?
in that
Okay.
case, here, I'll get this one once he gets done. But yeah,
Narratively appropriate.
yeah, you're kind of looking at Azimuth right now. But yeah, Codex and Morzaver, you've noticed that Felix is kind of like shifting about awkwardly, like he was not expecting this turn of events, and you can definitely tell he's got a really guilty kind of look to him, as in like he's got that look where you know you fucked up, but there's nothing you can do about it. He's kind of got that look.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
This look right here.
Yeah, well, not that bad, but kind of like that. Just like,
Yep.
Smile the pain away.
yeah, exactly. Just swallow that crow hard.
By the way, when Anaclisi did her like message at the end, it was like to all of the mortals in the room, right? Like Minerva, like would have heard it, right?
You're not entirely sure, but you suspect so.
Okay, yeah. So yeah, I'm going to turn towards Minerva and ask her about the task that Anaclisi mentioned, if she heard it.
But you know the funny thing there is, I was working on a Molder to one of those two. I forget because I forgot which one was mentioned as that.
Minerva.
Hmm.
Minerva.
We'll get back to you on that.
I guess you just have a Codex and whatever who just turn toward Minerva like, oh yeah, but like about the task she talked about. Do you know anything about it?
Mm-hmm. But I would just, looks a bit thoughtful. I'll talk about that after whatever Azimuth has to say. It seems important. And then, I'm gonna move over to this pair. As Bosk and Alia.
Yeah, so Alia, Azimuth had mentioned for you to come back in regards after speaking with Alia, because Alia apparently really wants to talk to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like she was being what's the word?
Insistent.
Earnest.
Ernest, okay. That's another way. So, I'm just gonna move you to...
Alright.
You found yourself in... Totally not a trap, by the way.
Yeah. I swear to God, if she's just like, hey, I didn't insight her again. Fuck.
Well, you can roll insight.
Feel free.
I guess.
Sure.
Okay. What is going on currently? As in, like,
Bosk.
Currently, where we're seeing it is right outside, like on the vehicle map. Essentially, Alia would have led Bosk outside and around to the street behind the bubbling top.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You're not
they're currently
entirely
out on the
Another
vehicle.
beatdown.
You're
Don't
not,
let the back alley beat down.
you're not entirely
And-
sure. She's as quiet as usual. Doesn't seem like there's any change in her demeanor.
May I remind you, I still have like 27 minutes left on my potion of flying, so fuck you.
Haha, nice. As you make your way out of the bubbling top, and you find a nice little street behind the inn. Firstly, I simply wish to ask, as I've seldom known defeat, might I know the name of the man who so soundly defeated me?
You can simply call me Bask. The Storm Herald. Whichever you prefer.
She looks up for a second, closes her eyes and then nods. Very well then. Bask. Your victory has humbled me in more than a singular way, as I was made to see just how woefully ill-prepared I was for such a confrontation. I am grateful for your mercy, and for this lesson, Bask, Herald of the Storms.
You certainly were no pushover either.
You just actually catch her smile at that. I have honed my body and my mind for a very long time. I should hope so.
After I heard just who it was I was fighting, I'm surprised I'm standing here, honestly. What even has caused someone of your stature to travel across the sea from the Ramal Arzaman Empire all the way here? In such short notice as well.
I was tasked by my lady to see to it that someone who I had been led to believe stood in the way of the well-being of this world was eliminated.
Moss kind of raises a dragonborn eyebrow at that. As you can clearly see, at least what we can tell, you were led mistakenly to a false conclusion. For at least based on what I know, I do not intend any harm or harbor any ill will towards this world or anyone on it, besides very specific individuals.
That is the lesson that I have learned today. I believe my lady is noble. She has not mistreated me, and I serve her of my own free will, for I see the good in her and trust that she intends well for her people, and the people in whole. But I can see that a great rage has come over her in regards to your lady and the Skybreaker. It saddens me, as I know that it overshadows the extent of her wisdom and her kindness. I can only hope that this defeat comes to humble her as it has I. Hopefully then, efforts can be made to wash away the anger.
Oskan looks at Kataigida. Then back at Alia. Based on that, it has not always been that way. But Lady Horizontas learned something. That is something I myself am looking an answer for. what exactly drove her to those lengths to carry such spite towards Lady Doriorano and Lady Cinephore?
Bosk, you actually know that.
I do?
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh,
Based off of
okay.
your bazillion, jillion fucking religion roll when it came to the Pantheon, is essentially what had happened is Horizontis is the goddess of, air, sky, and wind. And what had happened is Doriano had usurped control over wind over the sea from her, and that made her very angry. Although what Doriano had
Right.
told you is she did so because Oriantis was not, reacting quick enough or, not acting fast enough on the winds over the sea because of the No More. See, at first it seemed as if she had just taken it for her just because, but you learned back at the library that Doriano had done so because Oriantis was not fast enough to save people from going into the No More. So Doriano just usurped control over it to better help her keep people away from the No More. But yet Horizontis
okay.
just sees that as in like, you took my power from me, now I am much weaker.
Right, so she is right, okay. Because I remember that it was like said that was something that happened, but I didn't remember that it was detailed. Okay.
Yeah,
Alrighty.
like Doriana went into detail in regards to that back when she saw that you had had shaken faith in her, and a bit she had talked a bit about it before that as well.
Yeah.
So that's what
Yeah.
Bosk knows in regards to that. Is she didn't do so maliciously, but out of concern for mortals because the No More is just too dangerous, and she and Xenophon put a lot of focus on keeping people out of there. But since she had no control over wind, she couldn't use wind to stop people from drifting into it or whatever the case may be. So that's why she's like, fuck it, I'll do it myself.
Okay. Okay, we'll scrap all that then what I said. And my
Just
fucking
retcon that a little bit.
Yeah.
my non-note taking it.
Just pointing out because Bosk would know this.
Yeah. My lady meant no harm. However, it was simply because of the nature of the area that she and the Skybreaker reside in. The No More, certainly you know of this area.
Naturally.
The reason my lady initially may have seemed like a malicious act to usurp the power from Lady Horizontas, but it was to save mortals for the greater and common good, to save them from ending up adrift into or remaining in the No More.
I see.
That is the truth of the matter.
I see.
Naturally,
Go on, sorry.
Go on.
No, you first.
Naturally, I cannot call upon Lady Storm Queen currently, but Boss kind of just pokes, or like kind of just bonks the Katai Gida against the side of his head lightly. I'm certain that the Skybreaker would be able to lend a couple words in case your faith is, or your lady's faith is, well, in case my words sound too absurd for Lady Horizontas or for you to believe. Bosk has a bit of a saddened look when he says that.
What was the last part you said? Sorry, that tail end I didn't catch.
So in that, like, the most confusing sentence in the English language ended up with in case my words sound too absurd for you or Lady Horizontas to believe,
Gotcha.
I'm certain Lady Skybreaker would be able to lend a couple words to essentially supplement what was said.
You know, I pointed that out in the little chat thing too. Fun.
Okay. Xenophon's voice then rings out in your mind. It is true, Alia of the Riaquavia. My sister's actions were motivated by the desire to save the people of this world. And, unfortunately, it necessitated more dramatic changes. I see. It seems then I must converse with my lady. I believe I have many questions. I wish to believe that there was more to this, that I have not misjudged my lady so wrongfully. But
I would like to believe so as well.
I suppose I will have to see for myself.
The Dream Warden said something very apt to this very situation, which can be applied to this very situation. That the ways of gods are often not inscrutable. Very much the opposite. All you need to do is find out whether they are telling the truth or not. And there you have it. There you will have your answer.
Alia nods. That brings me some measure of comfort. For this belief of mine to be validated. Alia then reaches into a small pouch at her side. Retrieves what looks to be a coin. However, the metal has an almost prismatic sheen to it. She holds it out to you. Please, take this. Should you ever find yourself in Ramal al-Zaman, you may find this useful.
This is...
A small
What?
smirk crests across her face. Perhaps you should direct that question to Atala Ildomain el Vadahabi, for it was she who gave it to me at the behest of that old windbag, Ragwatan. Farewell, Storm Herald Bask. Blessed winds be at your back. And she makes a powerful leap northward, disappearing into the twilight sky.
just fucking like a rocket.
Pretty much.
Now you have a shiny prismatic coin.
If I ever were to find myself in that empire, perhaps sooner than later. And he puts it in one of the pockets that's sort of like creased.
Yeah, she
like
essentially
the
said if you.
inner part of his cape.
Yeah, she essentially said, with a bit of a smirk, that if you want to know what this is, ask Jasmine.
Yep.
Because she gave it to her.
On behest or on behest or on behalf?
Behest of the old windbag.
Okay. Fucking hell. Okay. And with that, Boss kind of just smiles at the irony of the entire situation. And
Just slight irony.
And heads for Aswald.
Okay.
Remember, Azimuth had asked you to come back. She had something important to say.
Oh.
Nozzle can
oh,
wait.
right. Never mind. In that case, yeah. Azimuth, Bosk would head back to the cellar, or
Yeah.
the basement. Copy,
Alright.
please.
What?
Fucking hell.
Okay.
No. Copy.
We'll just go to
Wait.
this spot, then
Yes.
once it's back.
Yes.
Apologies for the delay. And sits back next to Mozava.
It's no problem. Azumit speaks. She then looks towards all of you for a moment. Well, I couldn't possibly have known that my rattling on Ecclesia's cage a little would lead to this sort of reaction or outcome. I am still the one responsible for it happening nonetheless.
Alright, hold on. These guys would have left.
Yep, they would have left.
They were on their way out right
Yes.
behind those two. So it is currently just Azimuth.
Mm-hmm. Also, now that I am aware of just who she is and how critically important she is, I can't just look the other way and leave things as they are now. Especially because I'm also the one at most to blame for her decline in influence due to mortal interventions. Seeing as how I can wonder the material plane manifests and that I was easily the second most vocal in my opposition to Ecclesi next to Sographos, the Lord of Tides himself. He saw fit to task me in spearheading an effort to create mortal opposition to eliminate her influence in the mortal realm, while he worked to sway others in the astral sea. She then takes a deep breath and looks away. So, I guess you can say that I'm essentially the arsonist responsible for this fire. Do any of you have anything you'd like to do? Or say?
Lord Zographos himself spearheaded the operation?
What she had said is she spearheaded the mortal effort while he tried to sway the other god. So essentially, he did the astral sea, she did the mortal plane.
Mm-hmm.
That's
No.
squiggly.
Less
Oh.
quick.
I forget what to call that thing.
Call what? Tilt?
Heal day?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm thinking if she spearheaded like the mortal side of eliminating at least the worship, I guess. Doesn't that mean she could potentially like help us find her the church that like I spoke about?
You can ask.
You could ask.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of how we'd word that. I think.
It's like you have the arsonist, but at the same time, that also means she knows where the fire started.
Mhm.
Okay, so.
Yeah, take your time.
Yeah, I'm trying to see like how like easy phrase and stuff like that, so like I can see like what I would ask. Okay. So.
And there you go.
Damn it. Could explain me to it, I guess.
Well, you already heard me doing saying the squiggly thing, squiggly thing,
Mm.
squiggly thing.
You can vocalize
mean-
it audibly if
I
you
mean-
want.
I mean that could have meant anything.
I misunderstood it, but yeah, so essentially, Codex scribble.
Yeah, you feel free on the still roleplay. It's like it's one medium, visual, and you're another medium.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get to that right as Morzaver, because Morzaver would be saying this at the same time.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, Molo would say something along the line of that. Well, since you started this whole operation on the side, that would mean you know where we could find the Church of Anacleti.
Well, persuasion with advantage.
Actually, double advantage, because she would then look at Codex in his message.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
roll
so-
persuasion with double advantage.
Finally, persuasion. I can finally use my highest mod, which is 11.
Yeah.
Hey, that's all.
And a
Not
double
one, that's it.
advantage.
3d20 to highest 1 plus 11.
Hey, that's
Persuasion.
how I feel when I with my charisma characters.
With a 24.
One second, let me fix this.
Okay. I was actually just about to ask if I could join you all in helping you. This sure makes that a lot easier. I was genuinely worried you would turn me away. As she lay.
Ding ding ding.
Well, it's good that at least you wish to undo your wrongdoings.
Mm-hmm.
And we go down. Ooh, blood. Let me grab this real quick.
Okay.
And you see her demeanor change pretty greatly at that because actually roll insight. All of you
Ba-ba-da.
guys.
Yeah. Inside, it wasn't but 6.
Natural 20.
Well done.
Narratively appropriate again.
Because Boski's just giggling
You know what?
internally right now.
You know what? I'm gonna just auto nat 20 this shit.
Yeah, it's like these people have been made to eat some serious crow. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, you know that person we're hunting? Yeah, that's your oldest sister, you know, who was created by your mothers. Oh, and she saved the world. Oh.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, I guess I could have tried to insight before I replied with you.
And there's details yet that they still don't know.
Yeah.
Also,
Which
fun
I cannot
fact.
say.
my wisdom just went up by a point.
Nice.
Nice.
Let me get those rolls, and then we'll continue with that other part.
Okay.
All right, so
Let me click
with
it.
all those rolls, essentially, you would see that with you asking that, she's actually greatly relieved. Because you can tell that she looked extremely guilty, as in, like, you all could tell that she knew how bad she fucked up and genuinely wants to make it right. Bosk, in particular, you notice that she actually kind of smiled to herself, as in, like, a bit of relief, as in, like, she knows that she can, you know, essentially give back to the fact that, you know, she is aware of, you know, her wrongdoings.
Reminder, my nat 20 is a total 26.
And you would notice that she had certainly on her mind planned to do something in regards to these efforts at what she had done, and that she appears to be glad that you all accepted her help, because you think that she might have went off to do it on her own otherwise.
See.
Or at least that's what Codex suspects.
Hmm.
And there's a response.
Mm.
I do have a question for you.
She
Lady Newborn Star.
turns towards you. Yes?
There are 2 dying goddesses in this room. Were you responsible only for one of their declines?
She nods. I had no reason to go after the Skybreaker.
In fact,
I guess insight.
If you want to.
Yeah.
keep in mind that prior to today, that technically Dorino and Xenophon were allies in regards to them, because they are part of the same pantheon and had the same effort against
Yeah.
She'll
Yeah, I
mention-
mean, yeah, it makes sense, but you know,
Mm.
taking the good habits.
She mentions that much. Up to this point, we were allies, for one thing, and Xenophon's decline in faith has been going on for a long time.
And I had done a response to what she had said also prior.
I noticed.
You can tell that she nods and looks grateful because, well, as you can all tell, that she genuinely wants to make things right, and her demeanor seems quite a bit more cheerful now.
Okay.
Nicotina, being bipolar.
And then we continue with that part there.
Alrighty. Thank you for allowing me the chance to make things right. It really means a lot to me. Because... And she puts her hands up, just kind of gesturing. I'm struggling to find the right words to express how awful I feel about all this. It's almost tragically poetic in a way. The youngest sibling unwittingly moves to destroy the oldest. So some of the others will probably not see her as our sister due to her creation, but I certainly still do. I greatly share Doriona's sentiment in regards to concerns about Anaclisi for the Astral Sea, but for me, where my real concern stemmed was for my love of the material plane. I really like you mortals. It feels kind of weird to think of you all as my children, especially with me being so young and having had little to no role in your development at all. Instead, I've just been largely exploring the results of it and learning of the way you all do things and how very different it is across this world. She pauses for a moment. Speaking across the world, I hope you're all ready for some... And she hits her hands together. Traveling. Like, a lot of traveling. But first, what exactly did Anaclisi tell you all? I have a sneaking suspicion that the tail end of the song that Ari and I didn't get was for you all. I'll go off what she knew and I'll add to what I know.
Okay.
What does the party do?
I would answer that within the boundaries of which I could say.
Yeah.
So you'd then relay everything that you could say then, right?
Yes.
In that case, Emmy, right here.
We suspected as much with how God he had become. It's really weird looking at this in the other direction. She closes her eyes and shakes her head. I have done so much damage. I need it all along too. I just turn a blind eye and try not to think about how many mortal lives I was negatively affecting or ending. I just try not to think about how much suffering I'd done to the mortals I so very much love. I was in denial and just trying to keep myself busy and distracted. Deep down, I knew exactly what I was doing. So wrong it was, but I did it anyway. It's not a very bitter pill to swallow, having to finally face it. I was just so upset with myself. I managed to live with myself because I thought at the very least this was for the greater good and protecting the mortal realm in the long run, but now seeing just how wrong I was, it almost makes me feel physically ill.
What we do not understand, we fear. It seems that this saying goes even across planes other than the material one.
Gerald looks to you, snaps his fingers, and points at you.
Just, yeah!
As in, like, he's got a point, you know?
Minerva then speaks up.
Just
Yeah.
highlight your point, he did that.
Mm-hmm. Freaking... He's the best hype man.
Oh, yeah.
Minerva then speaks up.
Gerald sucker.
The best we can do is accept the mistakes we have made and do our best to correct them, or at the very least help undo the damage caused by them. Being an academic and an elf, I had more than one mistake come back to bite me several decades later. I can only imagine what it would be like for a god looking back centuries. To which Azimuth gives a bit of a wry smile. I think someone of your lineage will be able to relate. You come from a very long line of prestigious magitech researchers, and as the Skybreaker knows, Sand has errors of judgment in magitech innovation not failed for decades, even centuries.
I imagine I would know plenty of examples of that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, Codex is just kind of nods like,
Manella
He's like, what? Long line of magic, huh?
seems to give a bit of pause at that. You're not wrong. I suppose it's just strange to think about. Gods being so much closer than we think. Azumut nods, giving her a genuine smile. That's precisely how I felt almost a millennium ago as I began to really come to the same realization. The mortals are much closer than we gods think, and that's exactly why I care so much about you all. Being a black sheep amongst gods, I feel a sort of kinship with mortals, especially passionate and quirky ones like you, Minerva. I guess you could say I find you relatable?
Oh my god. She went from despicable to freaking just likable in a second.
Well, Bosk knows that she was acting despicable on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
He's the only one that got that read, though.
Yep. So Bosk is like, this is fucking ridiculous.
Minerva just blinks a few times before she returns the smile. I must admit that it actually feels quite bizarre hearing my actual name come from a god, but I see what you mean. Speaking of black sheep, you said something rather peculiar earlier. Though simply looking at you, it's not really needed to be said, but it highlights the fact nonetheless. Though I'm curious, how is it that you're able to wander the material plane manifest, as you put it, and well, as you clearly are right now?
That is a good point, considering that it is considered breaking rules.
Gerald looks at Bosk and then Kara nods.
Oh, that's for a
Yeah,
few reasons.
that's kind of was on my mind as well. What the hell are you doing here right now on the plane?
A few reasons. The first being that my divine spark developed my physical body early. So, I guess you could say that I was actually born very early. My body is actually a little weird because of it, too. Originally, I was projected to be born sometime with the next generation of maturing divine sparks, in a millennium or so by your calendar. However, when the formation of No More happened, something happened to my divine spark. I was born shortly after, and a new constellation also formed, the Compass. So right from the start, I was front and center in the mortal scholarly and intelligentia's worlds from the moment I was born.
So wait, that means that she's like, what, 2,000 and some years old?
That would make her to be about 1,300 years old. As in terms of God, she's not old at all.
Yep.
And I quickly showed that I had a tireless wanderlust to explore the material plane of our world, a learn more about mortals and the adventures they went on. So I kept effectively sneaking out of the astral sea to go manifest and wander the material plane among mortal adventurers. But I kept getting caught, as it's kind of hard to hide from the compendium as a god, no matter how hard you try. So I ended up making a deal with the mediators, who I thought were just Helios and Fangari at the time, to allow myself to manifest in the material plane, under the condition that I agreed to limit the power I physically manifested with to be relative to those I traveled with, that I still abide by the acceptable scope of departing and foretelling of knowledge, and that I must first pre-approve with them in any direct use of my divine power. It's a bit strict, but hey, I'll take what I can get. All things considered, could be worse.
You know,
If I could have an anime cell sweat drop, I would.
yep.
Ah.
You know, a few days back, hearing this would have given me a headache, but now I feel like I've grown a new level of brain matter to filter all of this information. You can just hear like a freaking an imaginary tea kettle go off in Bosk's head.
Gerald looks to Bosk. Welcome to my world.
Minerva
I do
giggles a
shit
bit.
every day for the first year.
Thanks, I hate it.
Minerva
He just
laughs a
gives you a
bit.
thumbs up. And with that, Gerald pauses for a minute before raising an eyebrow and pointing to her. Wait a minute. So you said that you can manifest on the plane, but relative to those that you travel with, yes?
Hold on. Fab says, be right backing.
Alright.
Pausing. Alright, let's resume. Continuing from where Geralt was speaking.
Alright, let me... Just finding that spot.
Here. Where?
Yeah, but... At her saying that, Gerald kind of raised an eyebrow and points at her. Wouldn't that make you, like, you know, kind of easy to kill for a god?
Azumeth gives a bit of a weak chuckle. A bit of a wry smile before looking away and scratching her cheek. Yeah, about that. I might have died more than a few times. Several times. Many several times, if I'm to be perfectly honest. But hey, on the bright side, I'm really good at manifesting a new physical body in the astral sea as a result of it. Most gods, it takes them years to a few decades of mortal time for the divine spark to manifest a new body. Depending on how much ambient ether is present where my spark ends up, mine only takes 2 to 3 days. Jasmine just cranes her neck back. God's damn, Stargirl, that's how many times have you fucking died? Azuma just kind of stares off into seemingly nowhere for a moment. In the past, 1300 years, I've been killed 2,644 times. In my defense, Azuma raises her
Sorry,
finger.
go on, Yami.
And yet again, if I could anime style, sweat drop.
Uh-huh.
There is no defense for that.
Most of those were my first 3 centuries. She brings her hands to her hips. Do you have any idea how hard it is to learn the limits of a child's mortal coil without evolutionary instincts or genetic inclinations? How even a quarter of you mortals manage to survive into adulthood is beyond me.
It's beyond me on how the hell on just what the heck kind of just essentially groups his head under his like claws with his elbows on the table.
Azuma
But
just...
don't tell me Busk wasn't expecting this turn of event.
You can catch just there's a slight bit of red in Azuma's face. And then you hear Thordran speak. I'm kinda curious now. When was the last time you died and how did it happen?
Like a lot of the time you died were out of negligence.
And Baman? The DG.
Yes.
Azuma then just still visibly blushing a bit, grins. Funny you should ask.
And there we go. No.
Azuma then turns to Jasmine, and as she does so, her form shifts before returning to the elven girl she was earlier. However, this time, she has very tanned skin, her clothing is an exotic, almost noble flair to them. Bosk, however, you immediately recognize at a glance that this is actually the traditional clothing that a servant girl in service to a wealthy noble in the Roman Alzaman Empire would wear.
Oh god.
Jasmine then slowly gets up from her seat.
What?
And begins walking towards Azimuth with her eyes wide and mouth agape. It was about 12 years ago. Before she can finish, Azimuth's in front of her and kneels down and captures her in an embrace. And after a moment, Azimuth brings her own arms around Jasmine. Hi again, Sadiqua. You fucking... Don't do that. I thought I lost you. Well, technically you did. I'm sorry. If only I could have been stronger then, maybe things would have been different. We might have been able to spend more time together. Jasmine then pushes Azimuth a little back, and she suddenly realizes something. Wait, you were a god all this time? Yeah. Admittedly, I've gotten pretty good at hiding it these days. Though, while I may have lived many lives as different people, I'm always the same me in all of them. A few people actually found me again after I died around them because of this. It was a little awkward, but I prefer to keep a constant appearance and identity each time that I manifest on the... Jasmine then pulls her in again. Gods, you never did shut up. That's definitely the same you in there, alright. Jasmine then lifts Azimuth up. With a little bit of difficulty. Some was if I mentioned your little gods were supposed to be incredibly light or something. Have you put on some weight?
Yes!
Azimuth then smirks. Only about as much as your thighs and hips.
Ow! Ow!
You ornery little shit. No wonder you never fear talking back at me with all your snarks and crips. And Azimuth then points a finger at her. Don't be so sure about that, cause it would be unwise even for a god to trifle with your temper back then.
And what I'm trying to do with character.
Nice.
Azu?
Jasmine stares at her flatly before setting her down. Well, you sure as hell try to down this sometimes. Azimuth hops away a few steps, before turning back to her with a mischievously innocent look. Maybe. Jasmine then narrows her eyes and lunges down to grab at her. But as she does, soon as Jasmine touches her, Azimuth's form spontaneously scatters, instantly forming a cloud of twinkling blue to silver stars all across the space where the goddess just was, and she now stands. Jasmine appears almost stunned for a brief moment before reaching out to the shimmering sea all around her. She slowly traces her hands to the twinkling motes, the energy flowing through her fingers seamlessly like water. The stars then begin to shuffle before forming a large rotating orb of constellations around her, and Azimuth's voice then fills the room. You always did love stargazing ever since you were a little girl. You were always looking up, watching for shooting stars to make wishes on. Earnest wishes. From the heart sing out the loudest. So while I cannot grant every mortal's wish, I could grant the wish of a lonely little girl who just wanted someone to watch the stars with. I will never forget those years spent with you. My only regret is that I failed to protect your smile that night. But I died, knowing that I had bought your father enough time to escape. That was enough for me. So I consider myself blessed to meet you once again. Yet, I feel as if I don't deserve it. At least for now, for this short while, it is good to see you again because I have missed you. The stars all come together and return to Jasmine, before Azimuth reforms again as the red-headed elven girl she came here as, just in time to catch Jasmine in the braids around her neck. Once again, the two girls hugging it out. Oh, I missed you too. Can't stay mad at you, Lucy. Not when you've done so much for me. I missed you too, Atala. Though I suppose Jasmine would be more appropriate now. Azuma then hops down to face the rest of you and gives you all a bow. Please do refer to me as Lucy going forward, as that's technically who I am while on the material plane. I generally only appear as myself, Azimuth, and Battle. So just think of me as literally a little elven commoner girl named Lucy, with no formality. I'll probably feel a little weird being so informal with a god, but I'll get used to it. Besides, it's not like I take offense. I'm asking you to be informal.
Just to make sure I heard that right. Lucy?
Lucy.
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to try and figure out who that is, roll history. He said that she has kept a constant identity.
Yeah, Boss tried to do that, and
Yeah.
also roll insight on when they were talking about that night.
All right, roll your insight rolls for that first, and then
Okay.
we'll get to it.
What are you trying to insight, by the way?
But
Whether they're like,
yeah, don't roll history yet.
yeah, what they're essentially trying to like figure out, because Boss like is essentially pretty big brain when it comes to Ramallah Zaman Empire. But like what, like how the both are like, if they were feeling like what their disposition was essentially when that
Okay.
was mentioned. Was there any significant shift?
In that case, roll insight with advantage.
Yeah, I would say that as well.
I tried to roll inside and
Yes, you too.
Fucking hell!
Nice.
Yeah, that's a
7
20.
That's 20. Okay, so 20 and
21.
21.
All right, so
And from left to
Boss.
right, so Jasmine and Azima.
I'm gonna tell you.
as
You can have Azimuth and go on Jasmine. You can easily tell that from the
no,
moment.
let me do this one. Like,
Okay.
so essentially, when Jasmine went to grab her and she exploded into stars, Jasmine was shocked. However, when she began to speak to her through the stars and as everyone could hear, as she had mentioned, you know, the little girl and granting a wish, Jasmine just immediately began to tear up. Almost in just disbelief.
Mm-hmm.
And as she had mentioned, not being able to protect her smile and ensuring that her father survived, she just covered her mouth in like a silent gasp and just more tears. And you could actually hear a bit of a quiver in Azuma's voice, as if she herself would be crying if she were actually there.
Okay.
There was. You would have noticed that there was a lot of honesty exchanged right there, and a lot of emotion between the two of them. That was a pretty bad experience for them that night. But yet both know that seeing the other now fine is a big relief to both of them. It's actually very touching.
Okay. You don't say.
Codex, on the other hand, you can see that
I was
Jasmine.
just in the history.
Oh, never mind. Let's see the. You see, you think about it. Oh yeah, you guys. Actually, Codex and Bosk roll history at disadvantage. Morzaver roll at double advantage.
You know what? I'm expending one inspiration to keep it at a flat.
So, history is double advantage, right?
Yeah, you have history at double advantage. They roll history at disadvantage.
And, well, I just expended...
Well, except for him.
No, one.
So my animation is up to 9 at the moment.
Alrighty. Alrighty.
Well, I'll get this.
That's still
you wanna have-
fucking 24.
Okay.
So, Codex and Bosk, you think about it and you're like, wait, if she's been Lucy since she was born and on the material plane a lot, you're like, there should be some records in regards to this little elven girl. But you sit down, you really pick your brain, and you've never heard of a Lucy or any little elven girl. And you find that actually kind of a little suspicious. Because you're like, wait, shouldn't there be something more written about her? Why do you not recall this girl at all? Both of you are just kind of like, that's odd. Morsver, on the other hand, take it away, Emily.
You, on the other hand, you haven't seen very many elves, as they're very rare this far south, especially elves with red hair, as that itself is rare too. So when you first saw Azimuth, you thought, wait, that can't actually be Lucy, could it? Because Lucy is a very well-known bardic legend. Tales of great luck and good fortune, ballads of great victories, and countless other bardic lore mention this Lucy, the elven girl. For she is a good luck, and should any bard find themselves in her company, fortune is most certainly in their favor, and they could expect great adventures in her presence. Another fun fact about her is that she requests scholars not to make mention of her, or if they do, not to give any detail. Lucy's love of adventure and exploration is a tale for the bards to tell, as she has put in many times. Because all bards who know of her know that it is an open secret that Lucy is in fact the avatar of Azimuth, the newborn star, goddess of stars, navigation, and exploration. However, it is very taboo for a bard to call her by that name.
So you're saying?
So it's well known that they are she is that the goddess Azimuth.
Bards are aware of Lucy's existence, yes.
Yeah, it's actually, like I said, it's an open secret amongst bards that have heard of Lucy. They know that, quote unquote, Lucy is actually Azimuth, but it's taboo for bards to refer to her as such.
Because, as Lucy put it, Azimuth's domain is for the scholars to tell.
Yeah.
It's actually become a bit of
Which
a...
is...
Mhm.
Oh, I was gonna ask you like any title legend, or if it's just Lucy.
You would know that she's simply known as Lucy, but there is a lot of mention her in bardic lore. Like, there's lots of tales of Lucy, the little elven girl, and have gone on adventures with great historical figures, on adventures, all sorts of stuff. Like, this girl's mentioned a lot. Like, bards know this girl well. But yet, as she put it, she has specifically stated that Lucy's love of adventure and exploration is a tale for bards to tell, and she has asked scholars not to make mention of her. However, at the same time, as, quote, Lucy put it, Azimuth's domain is for the scholars to tell.
Okay, so yeah, there's kind of like a separation between Lucy and Azimuth.
Yeah, like, she takes a great effort to separate the two identities, but yet bards know exactly who she really is.
It's actually become a bit of an inside joke to bards. It's fun to watch scholars rack their brains trying to figure out who this Lucy is. Yet if we were to say Lucy is Azimuth, they would all immediately know who you're talking about. But to do so is to break that unwritten rule. Besides, it's kind of more fun to watch them figure it out for themselves anyway. Good job, Nakodina. Lastly, Lucy is well known for dying. A lot. Because while those who travel with her often find fame and fortune, it is well known that Lucy herself is a little hazard-prone, and by seemingly no fault of her own. It's not uncommon for her to be killed once or even twice before finishing traveling or adventuring with a group of people or an adventure party.
Hey, it's danger-prone Daphne.
Careful with that cliff, Lucy. What do you mean? It's fine. Oh, the breeze is a bit strong.
Yeah, so more of her, you think about it and you kind of like smirk because she's kind of known for dying a lot, but she comes back really quick.
Yeah.
She's a
And we'll
goddamn
probably-
fairy.
I got better.
We're gonna have like a bit of a shock, but you mentioned like Lucy and like that, like the legendary calls of this.
So there's a great irony of the goddess of stars that while she blesses all around her with good fortune, she's extremely unlucky herself. People tend to feel very bad when she meets her demise as something that was completely unavoidable and out of their hands. However, thankfully, it is well known that Lucy gets her body back quickly and often catches back up within 2 or 3 days.
You seen a little joke I typed out?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Also, this, but yes,
pretty much.
that is
That's just Lucy in a nutshell. I got better.
Damn it, Lucy, why are you from Monty Python?
She turned me into a newt. A newt? I got better.
good lord, Monty Python. Anyway,
God
she does.
damn it.
Excuse me. She then shakes her head and walks back towards la table.
Jasmine herself moves back to take a seat.
Yes, my Rouge in a position just kind of like as she does. Anyway, we have a lot to do and I have a lot of insights to give.
One second.
The DJ.
Okay.
Alright, first, I'll share what I know pertaining to the mortals that are working to undermine Anaclese's influence. Azumin holds out her left arm, which disperses into stars, much like her entire body just minutes ago. And silver stars drift over the table. The more silver ones forming an outline of the map of Fotia and the surrounding continents. The blue stars then fill the more detailed segments of the map. And she starts gesturing towards it. There are 4 major groups currently present who move to destroy all of Anaclese's influence on the material plane. The first and most immediate threat of the 4 is here. She points to the remain with her other hand to a large blue star on Iposkamenos, right where Verisum would be. This would be the group that Anaclese mentioned in her message to you all. They are presently using more cloak and dagger methods to attempt to undermine Anaclese's main church that's somewhere in the city. While I do not know where her church is, what I do know is where the group is operating out of. She then points to...
We needn't worry about that. I know precisely where it is and how to enter.
She looks to it, turns towards you with an eyebrow raised. Really? Well, that's very convenient.
However, there is one slight issue. I will need your help, Codex, as to not get assaulted.
Cock's head.
Gerald kind of looks over to boss. Yeah, I don't think they'd be too happy about an enemy combatant just waltzing right on in. He kind of then smirks.
Right. And considering what I came to realize about this main church of Anaclese, I And Bosk just looks very irritated at himself.
They might remember him.
Yep. They might have a bit of a recollection of me. However, in order for us to gain access, I would rather... Well, if they are using cloak and dagger methods, in that case, I would rather enter the building as a simple, well, traveler. Without...
Dress up as an ordinary merchant.
Yes, I would. Yes, I was thinking of a name.
say
In
that
fact,
on a
in fact, it would
character.
be. I was thinking I would be a traveler by the name of Damer Cantil.
No.
However, it would be wise for us to create a distraction of some kind. So we may have, well, a peaceful chat between myself, Codex, and the retainers to Anaclesis Church. For you never know who might be watching.
Azimuth, or the Lucy now nods. Sounds like a plan. Now, regarding the enemy, however, she points to smaller blue dots south of the city. The village of Onestus to the south of the city is not a village at all, in fact. It's just a masquerading as one to act as a front, to avoid detection. The truth about this settlement is that it's this group's primary base of operations. There are a lot of people in this group in particular, so to eliminate this group's threatening her church, we have to destroy the entire village and everyone in it. Because the so-called residents of it are actually enemy combatants. We'll need more manpower, particularly to set up a perimeter to ensure none of these enemies escape. To accomplish this, we'll need to gather Anaclesis loyalists from Verisum and bring the fight to Onestus to completely wipe it off the map.
Would I know of that place?
Roll history with advantage.
Ask would probably have heard of it as well.
You as well roll it with advantage because you passed through there.
Oh god.
Pro fishery.
It's like fucking Bosk rolls up. It's like, hey, why is that Dragonborn buff all of a sudden? Hey, why is he carrying the staff of the Stormhair?
Most of you are eligible for this.
Can I roll a history as well?
You also roll history.
With advantage.
You've been through the area, but you haven't been
Okay,
there.
never mind. Sure.
Okay.
No.
Alright. So, Codex and Morzaver, you both know that that town of Onestus is actually a relatively new settlement. As in it popped up within roughly, the past century or so. Whereas most villages, tend to be a couple hundred years old. New settlements don't pop up that often. So this is notable in that regard. However, Bosk, when you traveled through there, you noticed that everything felt very new. As in, walking through, you noticed that everything's very well kept, very well maintained. The whole place is very nice. Which you thought at the time, oh, this is a really well taken care of place. But when you think back, you're like, wait. That's suspiciously well taken care of. And then you recall also the locals were very, very friendly. Too friendly. And then as you think about that, and you realize it completely lines up with Azimuth is saying, that they're just putting up a front. A really good one.
Well, they certainly are good actors if what you are saying it rings true.
Yeah, Bosk would have been like, wow, they're pretty good.
It felt almost, now that I'm looking back on it, it feels almost... It feels too perfect. I felt like I was in dreamland or something.
Be right back a second.
Okay.
But yeah, now you know that it's not so much a town as it is a base.
Good God.
Alright, and there's something else that could very much assist with the manpower thing also.
Oh yeah, fucking wind is gonna stroll over there and just fly over the village and just one smite, gone.
If only it were that easy.
It's not a bad idea to bring up at bare minimum.
Also, I know someone who we can ask for help too. We don't actually two people. Gerald, as well as Sis. Because I'm pretty sure she can at least give help with some magical waters and whatnot.
Yeah, see, Bosk would know. This is a pretty big settlement.
Yeah. So
Like, this is no
gonna
small village. This is a town.
Yeah, we're gonna need like everything we can get.
We're talking like this is hundreds of people.
Yeah.
Yeah, because as Azimuth just put it, it's not a village at all.
Sorry,
The entire place is enemies.
I am back.
Oh my God.
Would I know if which side my teacher would be on? My old teacher would be on also.
Well, considering your master and, you know, he is actually a follower of Asilo, the god of knowledge, it's pretty obvious that he would be on the side of Anaklisi.
It seems
Because
very
as you now know, that god is subservient to Anaklisi.
I happen to be able to cast any champion Dori or no, I may be able to on this matter. I can decide if he would or not.
Gerald would look at that box and point at you. That's probably not a bad idea.
Considering...
Because I would imagine that when we were ready for such a thing, that he would probably be able to help.
Minerva speaks up. Considering what happened, that's not a bad idea. Definitely could rely on somebody like him.
Gerald then looks to Codex. Actually, I'll talk to him about it.
No,
But yeah, thanks for the idea.
Azimuth, or rather, Lucy then points to Sradak, its entire outline growing much brighter. The second group is in Sradak. It's significantly smaller than the one at Iposkomenos. They're presently combing Sradak to find a hidden church of Anaklisians that they know is somewhere on Sradak. They just don't know where it is. I suspect the head priest of Anaklisi's church in Verisum will be the key to locating the church. The best way to eliminate this group is to lay a trap, using the church as itself as a bait. Once the group shows up to attack it, that is when we strike at them in an ambush and destroy them.
That sounds like a solid plan. However, we do need a substantial amount of information from Iposkomenos first.
Mer's got a hand at his...
I didn't get a chance to get this out also for that. Before the second group.
No. Alrighty.
Yeah, she would have taken notice of that too. Because as you're all gathering that this is not going to be some small fight. This will be a battle to take out this town.
Mask, you see, Mer's got his hand over his chin as she brings up Shredog.
I happen to have some connections there. I might be able to get a bit more information when we get there. Merc says, kind of raising a finger.
That would be great.
Laser goes. She then points to a large blue star on the Rimal Ultimate Empire, where fuck all you fuck would be. Yes, that is the name.
Yeah, fuck all you fucks.
What? Wait, is that a reference?
No.
Okay. I was like,
It actually has a direct translation that means over the horizon. It just ironically sounds like fuck all you fucks.
Oh right, this.
oh, fuck all food. Oh, yeah. Okay.
We heard about this before, right?
Took me
Yeah.
a while.
Yeah, we
And
heard
their
about-
signature dish at a region is called fuck all you chicken.
The third
Fuck all
group
you
is
chicken.
the third group is currently working to destroy a church in the city of Fuck All You Fuck. That's proven to be extraordinarily tenacious. I'm uncertain as to where this group is operating out of exactly, as it's constantly moving. Because members of One Ecclesia's church here are constantly striking back at this group. We'll have to defer to the heads of this church itself as to how best to handle the elimination of this group.
Well, as tense as the situation sounds, I would assume that it is still quite a commitment for us to travel there. It is still worth considering. What do you think, Gerard?
Send Amy something.
Alright.
And I'm just here trying to find a good guerrilla warfare fucking thing for that.
So yeah, this is a full-on war.
Uh-huh.
Probably coming out of the goddamn trees.
You're not wrong.
In this case, they're coming out of the sand dunes.
Pretty much, yeah.
But yeah, so resolving an Ecclesia's fate is going to take more than just going to her church.
Yeah, that's just the first step.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it'll still help significantly.
Yeah, most likely.
Yeah, regardless of what Bosk said. Or he just said, rather.
Bask asked Gerald the question, by the way.
Oh yeah, what did he ask Gerald? I just missed it.
The boss essentially asked that what would be the what does he think of the prioritization of like the point of interest after Ypos Komenos or very soon? That should we stay on the continent or should we travel to fucking Sandland?
Well, if you ask me, in my
tense the
opinion,
situation is there.
is if we take out the big group here, word will travel fast. So it would be best to knock out probably Ismos Thomnos and then immediately go after the one in Skandrak before they get too much information. Like essentially hit them and then hit the other one quickly. Because if they happen to get information in regards to this big group just was taken out, they're going to be far more cautious. So we'll have to move very quickly from one to the other.
And once you do, I'm not the goddess of navigation for nothing. I can make travel quite a bit quicker, so there's that.
That is rather good news.
Lucy then points to Triloi Perelth, the outline of the continent growing much brighter. The fourth and final group is also the newest and the smallest of the four. I'm not entirely sure as to the location or what it is they're precisely doing, as I was with Jasmine during the time shortly after I formed the group and have not checked on them since. I just know that I worked to form it in Transitus, so it would be best to start there and look for clues.
Of course it's in the fucking Finnish soda.
What?
Of course it's in fucking Finnish soda.
Would you like to say anything in response to it?
I think that they are the newest. I also assume that they are the weakest. As of currently, at least.
I believe so. But as I said, I haven't been able to look into them. So I have no idea what they're like. They're the biggest unknown currently.
Gerald then looks over to you, boss. Probably best if we handle these guys last, especially when you consider that the TAS is going to be moving up there. So we're going to have a whole fun lot of time playing dodgeball.
I never was good at dodgeball when I was younger.
Maou goes, right. I always just seemed to get hit, even when there were far bigger targets everywhere.
So essentially, we'll be having to look for the cheese while staying away from the cat.
Cat.
No one go for the fucking joke, shut up.
So we just need to summon Jerry Mouse.
The stars,
Speedy, hold on.
yeah. The stars
I'll
then
take
withdraw.
that, yeah.
The
I'll
stars
take that
then
over a fucking Wandering Wind joke. Anyway.
freaking finds me. The stars then withdraw and return towards Lucy, her arm reforming as they reach her. From there, it will be a matter of building back her influence. To best accomplish this, we'll have to once again work with the head priest of her primary church in Verisum. To see to it that more of her scripture is distributed, and new churches set in motion to be built in different cities, and priests ready to run them once they're constructed. Jenna says a deep breath as she tries to figure out how to use the language of common. Like I said earlier, I hope you're ready to do a lot of traveling, because that's precisely what this task will involve, as we hunt these 4 groups down and then work to establish her influence. However, once this has all been accomplished, Anaclese's fate will be secured and she'll be safely pulled from the jaws of oblivion. Jen shrugs. From there, back to doing whatever else it is you plan to do, I suppose. Anyone have any questions about this or for me in general?
I suppose spreading the stories of Anaclese would potentially help with the issue.
I feel like I could have worded that better, but Azu, I think you know what I mean by that.
Announce are a variable factor. They're hard to resolve, particularly when trying to avoid the intention when the goose is a bunch of material ready to put down the but subscription assisting. Okay. Mostly just affirming what you said.
Gerald snaps his fingers and pokes the codec. Oh yeah, that's right. You have been taking a lot of notes about that stuff. That'll be very useful. We'll probably want to give that to the head priest of our church.
I was gonna run it by the Oswald in this town, along with my old master as well, for mass printing as well.
One thing before that.
Ba-da-bum-bum. Ba-bum-bum-bum-bum-bum.
So did you hear what I said? I guess it wasn't against it, it wasn't clear or not.
I didn't. I know I didn't hear it at least. I can't.
I'd real trouble. I think I misheard what you said. Please say it again.
Essentially, Mother just said like spreading the stories of Anaclese would also help. Then it not. He basically has in mind like potentially ask like.
Passion speaks up at that.
Was it?
Hold on.
What you ask?
As you say that, whatever. Passion speaks up. Well, I'm not one to not take a clue. Looks like we have got our work cut out for us.
Like, glad you can needed me by what you're trying to say.
Hearing what Passion said, I'd look here. to pass it, I can get a copy made of my notes done up as soon as possible.
That would be lovely. Oh, a story never heard before in the world of the Otethis. Ah, I'm so excited.
Gerald just
Finally,
shakes his
I
head
get-
with a smirk. Bards.
Finally, I can work on doing that in characters, and I now, based on the context there, I would have been able to piece enough together.
But I mean, yeah, it's pretty much spelled that for you.
So, and after I finished saying that, I would have started getting to work writing down copies of the notes for her.
And after that, Mozabu can like, turn back to Lucy, and I guess kind of like okay. A reminder. So the plan we discussed is essentially we have to take down these 4 enemies.
Enemy groups, yeah?
Yeah, and then I guess help get back those scriptures and spread them around.
Yeah, essentially eliminate the 4 groups to stop the bleeding, and then essentially, work a bit to build back her influence. Effectively, stitch up and bandage the wound.
Yeah. So
And
I guess
in the
whatever
process, basically gauzing up the injuries by spreading as much word as possible.
Yeah. But yeah, what Modo I guess would ask then if it's like if there are any other things we need to consider before I guess moving on to the plan. Like as in like move on to the plan then like
Asking, is there anything more to
starting
consider?
to plan yeah, where is there more to consider if there is anything more to consider.
Lucy then puts a finger
1
to...
second.
Okay. Excuse me. As she thinks for a moment. And I'm reviewing this.
I hear that.
Well, it's one thing. It is a bit odd that Anaclese in our message seemed to suggest to do something completely unrelated.
I'm gonna I forget what my conclusion would have been from that, but I'm just gonna motor it out.
Gerald then snaps his finger, kind of points at Codex's box. That's a very good point, because technically, she says she has no desires, so therefore she couldn't really suggest us to do something that wasn't of an aid to her. That wasn't a greater aid to her than what we're doing. So considering what we're already doing and knowing is literally saving her, clearly there's more that meets the eye to this task of Minerva. He then looks at Minerva. Any insight as to what that might be?
Say that again, sorry. I was thinking.
Fucking derp.
Oh, Gerald asked Minerva if she has any insight into what that might be, as far as why Anaclese suggests for them to do her task first.
Minerva then shakes her head. I have no idea, fortunately.
Gerald kind of brings his, hand to his chin and thought, like, well, there's clearly a reason, otherwise she wouldn't suggest it. She couldn't suggest it.
There had to be, yeah.
So as much as it doesn't seem to make any sense, it may be wise to do that first. He shrugs. Fuck if I know. Gods are gonna do their own thing. And of course, she didn't tell us why.
That's just a factor we'll have to consider then. Lucy then looks towards you, Codex. Oh yeah, Codex.
Looks at her.
Yeah. Could I join you when you go to see that wizard?
Codex?
Yes.
She said it in reference to when you'd mentioned it as well.
Yes.
I know. And the response was a shrug that was just saying, I don't mind.
She did not.
With a bit of a smile. Alright. Thank you.
Nods.
Girl then points towards Lucy.
Actually, in regards to questions, I actually have a question for you, Lucy. While I am no astrologer, a good buddy of mine back at the TS is in the field, and he'd skin me if he ever find out that I encountered you and it didn't at least ask you about your constellation. The compass springing up figuratively and literally overnight scared the crap out of a lot of people. An entire star constellation doesn't just appear. Yet, that is exactly what your compass did, Lucy. Any insight into regards what you might be able to share with what caused it?
Lucy shrugs. I genuinely have no idea how it happened. To be perfectly honest. Apparently none of the other gods do either.
Gerald then raised an eyebrow. Even on Ecclesi?
She goes to open her mouth to speak, but both pausing and her expression falls to very deadpan. Her and Nadigas are literally the only two I have not asked. I'm pretty sure she probably knows.
Gerald just laughs, then clicks his tongue and points at her with a wink. You know what I think happened? That it was Lady Ecclesi delegating duties pertaining to the maintenance of stars that did it. The formation of constellations has somehow been a part of that process, maybe. Says that kind of looking all thoughtful.
Okay, I'm kind of curious. What can I be looking at, like the lantern that, like, is technically all the gas.
It is Odigos.
Yeah. Question: can I just ask it a question, like, telepathically or nah? Or do I just have to speak to them vocally?
You have no idea, honestly.
Okay,
You could try.
Just voice it, like, I like with you holding the lantern up and like asking.
You're free to try if you want.
Yeah. Mother would ask, like, would you know anything about that?
In your head or out loud?
I'll just ask out loud because why not? They all know who it is.
That reminds me, I was going to, when we were referring to the goddesses' motives or whatever, with that, ask if Cinnafon had any insight on that matter.
Alright, noted.
But yes, so
You hear in your head, Mozover. My mother did play a hand in this. That is all I can say.
Yeah, Mother would nod and thank her. Alright, thank you.
Nay.
Yeah.
Then,
And
as that happens, Lucy just looks at Gerald like he is completely insane.
Mm.
Delegated to me? What are you talking about? Gods are born with their duties. They aren't given to them.
Wait, doesn't that kind of contradict with what happened with Dorian? Obviously, more than we don't know, but like,
All of you know that that's not true.
Like,
Like, Onyxlisi literally told you also.
oh yeah.
I'm gonna correct with Mulder.
Gerald just holds his hands up like, yeah, I'm not touching that one.
Alright, waiting for
He
the
then
movie.
paused and then looked at Jasmine. Lady Jasmine, maybe you might want to, you know... He points at her, then points at Lucy.
Jasmine catches your mold earth. I'll wait to see what you type up first.
By the way, more than we have kind of like told the other like, well, it's I know it seems like there is some amount of truth in this, according to the other. At least she played a hand in it, like you know, as she kind of relays the information she gained. But it was like previously, it was like.
No.
Gerald didn't have nod like, yeah, I thought as much. But of course they can't say. He kind of rolls his eyes with a smile.
Are you still gonna mold earth, Yami?
I was just verbalizing that I was correcting her statement with it.
Oh yeah, okay, fair enough. What you said.
Wait, can't you just like repeat what she said?
I feel like it would be in bad taste to do it that way.
Okay, yeah, fair.
What you said. Jasmine starts rubbing her temples again. That oh so familiar pose. What did Onyxlisi tell you all about her library, Lucy? Not much, honestly. Lucy shakes her head. Other than it is critically important to the mortal's well-being. Why? Yeah, I figured as much. Because the truth is, the 8 of us here, yeah, we've actually been in it. And Lucy just kind of looks over her. What?
That we did.
Along with the Storm Queen and the Skybreaker. I've seen the physical chronicle itself and have a good idea how it works.
We did get to see the compendium too, right?
Yep.
Like the actual compendium. We even got to see the compendium. At least it's actual.
Azimuth is like, what the fuck did you just say?
Azuma's eyes are wide open and she's just kind of staring at Jasmine and then just like, you think you see like a little bit of stars just moving in her eyes, like past like blue screen of death, sort of.
Gerald then kind of points at Jasmine. It's true, yeah. There is a physical compendium. We've seen it. Though she warned us not to look at it because it'd like destroy our brains. So we didn't.
It most certainly would. I would know.
Well, that makes sense. Those things aren't meant for mortal comprehension. Barely for higher comprehension, too. Based on the little I do know.
Waiting for the mold earth. There it comes.
Inside the barely thing.
What thing?
What?
The barely thing she just said.
Oh, about
Barely?
like I think about the gun. Barely.
Well, even the higher beings barely understanding that one.
Like I guess like it will like destroy our brains for mortals, and I guess she replied with barely like for high
Barely
beings.
even. Yeah. Well,
See, with
yeah,
that, you
well,
could see when she said that, she meant so in the sense as in like, there's still some stuff that they don't know. Not so much as they barely know, but there are unknowns.
Mm-hmm.
Also, is Codex still going to use Mulder for?
Yeah, I think you
said-
already corrected.
Yeah, I said I was just gonna do that to correct it because I couldn't be bothered to type all that out.
Fair
Oh,
enough.
okay, yeah.
Alrighty. Anything else you want to say?
I hear.
Still
Okay.
curious if Xenophon hasn't gonna give any insight though about the whole about the motives thing. Or what Ecclesi's motives could have been there.
Oh. Well, she doesn't seem to be speaking presently.
You can take that as she probably doesn't know. That or she does know and she can't say. Could be anything with
Either
God.
is possible.
That I can't say.
Drugs. Oh,
It's Boss thinks this. Suddenly there's a fire in the middle of the room. Oh.
I would like to cast teleport to get the fuck out of here.
You spontaneously learn teleport.
Yes.
why not? Nothing to
After a
really just
moment, Lucy just kind of wildly shakes her head a little bit, just kind of like a dog that is that is shaking off moisture from its fur. It's just like, well, that was mostly everything I wanted to talk with you about. Now you're kind of free to do whatever you need to. So, thanks for listening, and thanks for letting me help.
Alright. I plan on head there as soon as possible in the morning. After morning meal.
Yeah, because it's gotten a little late.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
There
gonna
is some,
focus
yeah.
on copying out, making this copy of notes or whatever for passion, and then hit the bed.
Jasmine is going, fuck. And then Boss going, there's something.
Miss Schulde.
Yes?
Miss Schulde. There, seeing as you are very adept and knowledgeable of Magitech, you may want to pay a visit to one of the noble houses here in Berkel.
Oh,
Just tell them that the Storm Herald sent you.
okay.
Yeah, you would have
which one?
pointed out that it's the Neverlight.
Yeah.
Yeah. Specifically the Beverlight Mansion.
The Beverlight? Well,
Yes.
thank you. I'll take that
I
into
have a feeling-
consideration. If you're bringing this up now, I can imagine it can't be without good reason.
If anything, it is to aid all of us. They more than likely just will just be prepared for a lengthy talk. But as a scholar, I can't imagine that would be an unfamiliar situation for you.
Never nods. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
She looks towards around all of you. You've all been such tremendous help. Honestly, can't thank you enough. Anyway,
Boss kind of just stretches a little bit.
let's see. It's probably best I get back to my own lodgings. Presumably, we'll regroup around here tomorrow? And then figure
That
out where
does
to go
sound
next.
That does sound wise.
What time should we decide on?
4 a.m. And what?
after
all
morning
o'clock.
meal.
What is it?
Which mean,
Well, I know after morning meal, I'm fucking heading over to Aswald's with now the company of a goddess as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Aswald is like I need to fucking
boss.
I need to install a fucking separate like god bell.
It's like every time you show up there at Oswald's, you always just have something more. You're just gonna show up, be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is the champion Von Cleese.
Along with someone else.
Mm.
Yep.
Thornton just kind of hops out of her seat for a moment and goes like, "Well, I know what I'm gonna do. If we're going out to war, you're gonna need some new gear."
Oh. Do you have anything in mind?
I'm still thinking. I got some inspiration while you were listening to that dagger attack.
Well,
And if this isn't enough for me, Granddad, I don't know what will be. The forge waiting for me.
Well, good luck. Can't wait to see your handiwork. I
She runs up to Mozaver and just kind of gives you a quick hug around your legs. And then sprints off. See you tomorrow.
This freaking dwarf is too precious. Dwarf.
Geraldine gets up from his seat. It's been a long fucking day. I'm gonna go get some sleep too. See you all tomorrow.
How many days in a row have we said that?
Gerald pauses. I've lost count.
and how long will it take for me to finish making this copy for Passion or whatever?
It'd take you about an hour at most. Because you're just making copy. You're not being too fancy about it. Just relaying information.
Just don't
And,
write in Chinese doctor's handwriting, and you're good.
Oh yeah. After that, Mozavu would like gonna turn towards the passion and ask her. Oh right. Before we got interrupted, I wanted to ask you at some point if you had a way, if we could have a way to communicate. Like in a long distance, I mean, like as in meaning like long distance communication.
Well, I certainly have my ways. There are some few spells for that purpose. As for you, it'll be a bit odd. Perhaps you could look around to procure some sort of stone or magic item for that.
That is true. Mother would turn towards Bast to and ask if he knows where, well, he could find some the kind of stones.
Like what? What kind of
Ascending stone. It just so happens that you might be going to see a magic shop in the morning.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, looks like the whole group of us are heading to Aswald's then.
Oh god, he's going. Asmo is going also to see the lantern that's actually the goddess of death too. Hey, the party, the group of gods he's going to meet is just getting higher and higher.
But
Mervyn gets up from his seat. Oh, well, I'm gonna get some drinks first before going to bed because fuck, this has been a long day. I'm getting the fuck out of here. And then he goes upstairs.
as he does, Passionate calls out to him like, "Round 2, better luck this time."
Merv just sighs.
I swear to God, Therese is gonna end up being the hotel receptionist of this fucking place, handling drunks.
Well, either which way, Clapper Gold, I'll be sure to find you.
Okay, what did she say?
She said, "Well, either which way, Clapper Gold, I'll be sure to find you. I'll always find a way."
Yeah, so then Passion would essentially hang out with Codex until he is done.
Yes.
Yeah,
And I
right.
would have started doing that as
The
soon
codex
as I
there.
finished saying what I had said.
Yeah.
With,
By
with
the
that.
way, after like passion like said the thing, mother would have nodded as in like yeah, of course, you know your ways. Like yeah, okay. After that, mother would like turn to Bask and ask him, so what are you planning to do now? Or are you just going to rest?
I have one more thing to do. You should make sure to hang around with Fashion. After all, it is speaking of, why were you were attacked, right? Boss does know that, right?
Yeah, he mentioned the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Jasmine just kind of.
Just like, oh shit, that did happen.
Shit. I almost forgot.
Uh,
What about those assassins that were after Mozaver? Is that something we
Well-
need to worry about?
I
Tell me
have
one thing we don't need to worry about.
Well, I don't know why he attacked me, though. Okay, why did you say something rich boy? What did you say?
Yeah, they had called you a rich boy for some reason, but
And when you asked, what do
you-
you mean? One of them said, you know exactly what this is about.
I fucking hate these kinds of plot lines in shows.
see, but at the same time, Mortimer, you're thinking like, well, your father is like an exceptional, like world-class blacksmith. You're not particularly wealthy, so you're just like, they got the wrong guy.
You certainly can't think of any reason why somebody would want to assassinate you because of your father.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that whole situation made no sense to you, Mortimer.
And now I'm thinking, is it because of that thing that, or like that the bangle I got,
The what?
the bangle of better bartering.
Oh,
You know the thing that the idiot gave me.
You think, considering that it came from Idiok, probably not,
Yeah.
because
Okay.
that comes with no strings attached.
Yeah. And I mean like it'll be stealing. Trying to steal an item from idiot would be
That would be
You
a
get
bad
this,
idea.
considering,
By all
considering,
means, take it. That'll be the last thing you do.
considering how it happened, it seems a bit too organized to that end.
Yeah, but yeah, most of it will relay like the what happened and how they know how what they called him and stuff like that, and how apparently he knows exactly what they mean, which
Would bo-
he will reply as in, but I have no idea what they were talking about.
would Bosk come to the conclusion that this might be because of I was gonna say fucking orichalcum. No. This would be because of
Yariam?
something about like this brother being like a legendary blacksmith and now Mozaver possessing the fucking glowing purple block of
Well, you know that it's in a lead case; it cannot be seen.
Yeah,
Right.
you gave it to him too. So there's
Actually,
that.
also,
but
Mortimer,
like, if it would be like linked to that, basically.
Yeah, but yeah.
the Bosk, knowing that nobody could see it, you'd find that very unlikely. But also,
Okay.
Mortimer, you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, that's right. Odigo said that it'd be very unlikely that the entity would make any moves against you anytime soon because he knows that Odigos is actively watching. So you probably don't have to worry about anything crazy for a little while.
Yeah, at least for a while until I could get the courage up, essentially.
Yeah, essentially, right now it's really cautious because it's like, oh shit, the god of death is watching him.
What a bummer.
Oh, not her again.
I know. It's like
that takes ghosting to a whole new level.
oh yeah.
But yeah, but Mortimer, you'd be pretty confident you don't have to worry about no assassins and shit for a while.
I'm still curious as to what was that about. Like, yeah. Well, considering the chain of events that followed after, I can assume it was the work of that entity we talked about. So I doubt anything like this is going to happen again. for a while.
Well, that's good
That's
to know.
relief. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, sorry, go on.
What was Van going to say? No, because I was going to ask have Mozover ask what was the thing that Bask was going to do, because he mentioned like something about having one next thing to do.
Well, that is something related to her, and looks at Katagina.
You see.
It's considering that time cannot flow. Well, it really depends on her whether she wants me sleep deprived or not.
Well, I sure hope you won't be, considering we'll have a lot of travel to do tomorrow.
Indeed. I'll join you shortly.
Alright. Well then,
Take care, Morzaver.
same goes to you. Good luck, and good luck with your task.
I imagine at this
Likewise.
point, Codex would have been finished preparing all of the copies.
Yeah, okay, and well, the copy would have been passed over to Passion.
Which she accepts. Thank you.
Nods and gets up to head to bed.
Then she moves over to you, Mozover. Now, would you care to join me for another walk?
It should appear so.
Might as well.
So, where did we left off?
Oh, let's see. So, guys, lead the link up to enjoy the more nighttime sights of Birko. Look across the starlit sky, thinking about what is to come. Bask.
I just realized that the fork is still on fire.
Where are you going presently? Just to be sure.
Wait, Morzaver or Bask?
You, Bask.
Okay. Bask would essentially just who's in the room currently?
Currently, it would be you and
Okay.
you and Jasmine, actually.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Everybody else is left. And Jasmine's about is heading off towards the doors as well, along with everybody else.
In that case, Bask would essentially shift and sit here. And call out to Jasmine. I have something to tell you.
She turns and looks back. Something to tell me?
And he reaches into his coat, essentially places the it was a golden token, right?
It was a prismatic token. It looks like it's a shiny metal, but instead of having a sheen of white, it's a prismatic sheen. Like it has some sort of layer of magic on it.
And places it this is on the table in front of the seat where Jasmine sat just previously.
Where did you get that?
Why don't we have a little chat?
Alright.
You know where I got that from. I got that from the champion of Horizontas. From Miss Alia. She said that you might have some answers as to what this thing just is. After all, you gave it to her. As per her own word.
gave it to her?
That is what she said.
She grabs her head for a second. Well, that's a token of favor. Something given out between, well, just about anyone with a little bit of favor to give. And when given, it's an absolute form of proof that something is to be carried out.
To be carried out?
When you give this to somebody, that'll guarantee that they'll do exactly what you tell them to do, as long as it doesn't, cause them any harm.
Then why? Bosk looks puzzled.
See, essentially what Jasmine's saying is, it is a currency above currency. A token of favor. If you got one of these, it means you did something important to someone else who had one.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you use it, that then means that that person will then owe you a favor, but to which then you can call upon that favor to someone else with the coin. So essentially, these things are kind of a big deal in the Ramal Aslan Empire.
When did I...
Well, I suppose it is useful for calling in favors. And
When
she did say,
did I...
Jasmine, I'm gonna insight her.
Feel free.
She seems weird.
Even with a 9, I want to say this is not the usual Jasmo. She's not guarded. She is, at present, you can see her gritting her teeth and breathing through them. And she looks almost a bit in pain.
Jasmine.
She begins walking out of the door. And close and very quickly.
Can I attempt to stop her?
You can try and run after her. She's gonna start running.
Sure. Seems weird.
Well, athletics.
The heck just happened?
I don't like it. What, has it been an hour since I drank the potion flying?
Oh yeah.
Easily.
After everything was said and done, it's been about 2.5 hours.
Alright. Athletics, you
So
said?
it is currently like nighttime out there.
Okay.
Remember to dash.
Hi, Rito. Hello?
Yes.
I just also want to comment right now that Simic Hybrid is driving me crazy.
Okay. That aside, we're kind of in the middle of something, Rita.
Yep, I know.
Alrighty. You try to run after her, but she is quick.
And also, Bosk, once you get up into the bar proper, there's quite a bit of people here. I'm just too lazy to put them in there. But you hear in your mind Lucy's voice. Not to follow her.
Oh.
And with it slows down from a run to a jog, to a quick walk, to a couple steps. What gives me the honor, Lucy?
This is something she
You
needs.
then turn on her seat to look to you.
She needs some time to herself. This is something she needs to figure out herself.
Figure out?
She nods.
What did I just give her?
She'll
I have
tell
no
you when
doubts
she's
that-
ready.
It's not in the right minds of. But it's not for a little elven girl to address.
Whatever do you mean?
Or is it genuinely something that only she can address?
Jasmos has always been a bit hard-headed. But that's the way she is.
No matter how you look at it, that was not normal.
All I can say, it's something to do with that night. The day that I died. She'll be fine.
Well, you know her better than I do. And if you say that, then I will not pry.
Thanks for being her friend. She smiles at you. Gratitude is shining through.
Thanks for being a comrade.
I'll do my best to live up to your expectations. You hear as she walk past.
Yeah. And Bask walks through the doors. And then says to himself, now for the one last thing that I meant to do.
Alright.
I believe you have some explaining to do. And some things to address. Lady Cinephone.
Yes. It is
Well, we shall
time.
take a short break.
Yes.
Yes.
Alright, we're resuming,
Oh, no.
I think.
So we go down. So boss goes down. And as you take a seat, before you even say anything, Xenophon projects herself to sit on a seat next to you.
Very
She was
elegantly.
expecting this.
And Bask would put the Kataiki down the table as well.
It begins to roll. Make a dexterity check. No.
Come on.
Make a deck save at disadvantage at five levels of disadvantage. Fuck you.
Fuck.
Okay.
I'm saying.
Okay. Umineko time, I believe.
Alright.
I don't know what you were thinking. Yes.
So Xenophon then looks at you expectantly.
Where to even begin?
Perhaps at the very beginning. Would that not be wise?
There is so much that I wish to have answers to, but before before addressing any prerequisites to becoming a champion, and as tempted as I am to ask, why exactly did you fall from power? Starting from the very beginning would be preferable.
This would be the beginning of it, and I do not mind sharing this with you now. Hold on.
Bask looks at the phone of Sina curiously.
Hold on while we check in here. Dun, dun, dun. The reason that I reigned supreme in the early days of this world is how primitive mortals feared my power. For this reason, I remained the greatest of the pantheons for millennia, I would say. But I feel rather ashamed looking back at that time. And the cataclysm, as you all know, caused catastrophic damage to coastal villages, towns, and cities all over the world. Tsunami ravaged the shores and anything within miles of it. This dealt a tremendous blow to my faith, as I had lost countless beacons of faith in disaster. Entire lineages were wiped out in an instant. I could have done more for them in their hours of need, but I was nowhere to be found. Instead, I was off indulging my interests in the future yet to come. A future that was Magitech, the future that only I held the power to guess far enough into the compendium to see. She lows her head, and because I neglected the past, I lost sight of that future as my power waned. Before I even realized it, my seat rapidly fell. Yet I still only looked forward, ignoring what was behind me. It was only once I could no longer remain there did I finally take the time to look back, only to find that I had lost almost everything by then. It is a point of great shame to me, but one that I must now share to you.
We are humans, deities, mortals alike. It would appear that we are both just as equally blind to our own mishaps and errors in our ways until we are forced to smell the ashes and see our consequences with our own eyes.
In truth, the arrogance of a higher being cannot know any compare, for no one can easily challenge something of that measure. Now,
Why exactly were you like that, Lady Xenophon? It is rather hard to picture you as such, seeing the way you are now. What drove you?
Imagine yourself for a moment, born into a world on the will of a greater being, knowing deeply within you that you stand to rule over an entire world of lesser beings, transient beings. In some ways, ignorant beings that simply cannot last your inevitably infinite lifespan. Beings that have never seen the ends of the cosmos, the times that have been, will be, perhaps some that never will. And you look down upon them and think, they must be so simple.
Saddens me to realize that the simplicity we carry is, if not inherent, then very accurate. However, I suppose, were I to be put in that position,
And as such, I sought power. Power to further my influence so that I could never be challenged. Power to shine brighter than any higher being has ever done before. I sought to attempt to bring Magitech into this time period. And in so doing, I created the Great Divide, the No More, as you mortals know it. Even then, I, my cowardice, could not face the extent of my sins, nor could I admit to myself that I could have prevented this, acted otherwise. But it was one mortal, one transient being that humbled me. And you catch her smiling at that. One who demonstrated to me that below the surface of simplicity, there is a cosmos of potential, of intrigue. Beyond this veil of mortality, there is a great number of mysteries known by all transient beings, yet so unknown to us higher beings. And he, a lesser being himself, no far less than a century of age, he treated me not with reverence, but as an equal. 1,000 years passed. This would have offended me greatly, but it was unlike anything that I had ever experienced. And I must admit, it was far from unpleasant.
Us kind of gives a quizzical look at Xenophon. At that.
A mortal failed to show the appropriate respect of a higher being, and yet I could do nothing. I grew to appreciate it. And so, it was that I began my transformation from a shallow, arrogant higher being to one that could appreciate the intricacies hidden under the veil of transience.
To think that Wandering Wind did that much for you.
It is why my gratitude is infinite. I cannot thank him enough for all that he has done. He is truly an unshakable man, fearless in the face of certain doom. You catch as you watch as she just kind of cups her face in her hands a little bit.
You say that as if you've seen him face undefeatable odds, only to come out on top. Lady Cinephon. No. Cinephon. Would that be alright?
She just kind of gives her a bit of a side eye for a moment.
Hey, Bosk! Make a sanity saving throw with quadruple disadvantage.
Roll a persuasion check, by the way.
You know what? I'm gonna throw a Hail Mary. I could throw Inspiration, but I'm just gonna throw a Hail Mary at this one.
Okay.
Wait, for what now?
Persuasion.
Because he's
Persuasion for
asking
what? I
because
completely missed.
he's asking, can I call you Cinephon?
13?
Okay, with a 13, she looks at you with a side eye for a moment and then just looks away for a second with a wave of her hand. I suppose.
Huh? Okay.
And yes,
Seen that-
I have seen him overcome a great many odds. It was how he survived.
Who exactly is that man? Is that Tabaxi? No matter how you look at it, he seems like the pinnacle of a mortal warrior almost. The indefatigable nature of his drive to survive and almost an animal instinct to keep on pushing through. Both you and the Storm Queen have your own reasons as to why he's held in such a high regard, but why is that? I cannot help but feel that there is
From a very young age.
more there.
From a very young age, Wandering Wind was a individual with a talent for exploration and a tireless wanderlust. He sought to know the world.
Fucking alarm bells going off in my head at that. Anyway, go on.
And in his search for adventure, he found himself on a ship. Yet that ship would know a terrible storm. And with no means of navigating out of it, it was surely moving towards the Great Divide. It was then that I and my sister intervened. We found him adrift in the sea, holding on to some driftwood. Dehydrated and on death's door. And I looked upon him, and I saw a great deal of potential that I had never known before. He would come to awaken within one of the churches under myself and my sister's worship. And we would speak at length about the things that we knew, the things that he would know. And as we did, I felt a kinship, the bonds of I would not know how to describe it.
You felt a kinship.
Perhaps. It is, you must understand, it is difficult for a god to know something so transient as love, yet here I am.
Well, new things are always new things. That is amusing in a way.
Now,
However,
yes? Okay.
what?
Okay, you can go on.
Okay. Your fall and the egg is being erected. Was that because of your ambitions to bring Magitech to this world? No, to the timeline back then.
Yes. Do you wish to know of this?
What would the repercussions be if I answered positively?
She adjust yourself a little bit in the seat. Just sit a bit more straight.
I can just imagine sitting for like gonna bumping herself up in like an office chair.
It is
Like, oh boy.
it is there will be no repercussions as it is unrelated to anomalies. However, I cannot speak much on it, as very few mortals know exactly what caused the cataclysm. The organization you know as the Thelma Archaeological Society has made tremendous efforts to cover the incident up. Though truth be told, what happened exactly was actually a Magitech experiment gone wrong. The society that built the ruins you saw earlier set up an experiment involving monitoring polarities of the weave.
And Bosk is like, when he hears this, he's just like, he doesn't have a jaw because it's on the floor.
This is like some top level super secret shit.
Yeah. It's like, hey. He kind of looks around.
A massive
Magic
lightning core.
experiment.
A massive lightning core stationed atop the hidden peak, and an ether core atop the cursed peak. The two cores.
Aether core.
Yeah, Aether, sorry.
You're banned from saying either and aether.
Shut your gosh dang face.
Anyways, go on.
What about
Aether. Got it.
Ether core atop the cursed peak? The two cores communicated information between one another by recording the information as the signals traveled through the weave and back. At least, that is what it was supposed to do. But when the continent that these people called home was sent below the sea, this experiment went on unchecked, neglected. Honestly, I am amazed that it took so long as it did for the lightning core to finally fail. However, when it did, it caused a massive feedback to shoot through the weave and strike the Aether core. When it did, it created a magical disaster that still exists to this day atop the cursed peak. I cannot speak on the fates of either core or the facilities that house them, only that this is what happened.
Is it something you do not know, or is it something that you cannot speak of?
She just closes her eyes and continues. This break is what you mortals know as where was I?
Okay, so it's called the Where Was I? Got it.
Shut up.
It's great to see that Emmy knows how I feel.
The sort of
sometimes when I'm DM.
This break is what
It's
you
right
mortals
here.
know as and the aftershock of the feedback created enough pressure in the weave to distort the very land of the continent itself, causing it to attempt to literally fall in on itself before breaking. This break is what you mortals know as the split that divides this land and that of the south. The force from this massive tectonic shift sent the waves that washed away so many of my loyal followers. Yet, even then, after all this, I still ignored it all.
An entire continent gone. Gone. Yet you ignored it.
I cannot speak much more on that matter. I perhaps have already said too much with its mere mention. However, I feel I owed you at least a proper answer for the origin of the cataclysm. If this matter does indeed interest you further, the High Elf of Pinnacle Mortal Brilliance will be the one to speak about it, for it is she who plans to launch an expedition to investigate these peaks and see what secrets they might unlock to advance the organized mortal effort to cross the Great Divide. That is,
My fucking god!
after she finds what she needs in the facility beyond the haunted forest without Ken. You will not tell her I said that, but you may use this insight to help guide her, for I wish for her to succeed more than any other. This matter pertaining to the forest may prove to be a reasonable next destination, for reasons I cannot say.
The fact that you said that only gives that much more weight to the issue. Well, to the matter at hand. Very well then, Lady Xenophon. I shall aid her. However, will discovering the Ether Core, well, it was Aether Core,
Aether
right?
Core.
You said that it was
Ether.
it was Aether. Emmy, you can't say Ether or
No.
Aether.
I said Aether.
You say them the same.
I said
But anyways.
I said Aether.
So, no. So on the material plane, there was the Lightning Core and the Aether Core.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I said it right the second time. What do you want?
So
Yeah, see.
AE Core.
Here, I'll get the saying and show you.
So L Core and AE Core were on the material plane, and then the E Core was on the fuck all plane.
No, there was just two of them.
Okay, so the AE and L cores essentially just said fuck off and
Here,
caused
let
a
me
tectonic shift.
find it.
I swear to God, you guys are just fucking bullying us with the fucking Aether and Ether.
Well, like I'm getting bullied unfairly. Domestic abuse. Oh,
Okay, what she was talking about is this. Bosk would know that she was talking about these two mountains. And then the top left was a massive lightning core. And in the bottom right, on the cursed peak, was a massive aether core. And the two were sending signals between one another, monitoring the weave as an experiment. However, when the continent was sunk, this experiment was just left because nobody was maintaining it.
Right, and the continent that was sunk was
The one that was, from what you saw on the map, to the
northwest.
Yeah, northwest of.
Okay, so the area of the No More.
Essentially, that big chunk of the No More right there is where
Right.
it once was, but it was sent beneath the waters
Okay.
for their crime.
Jesus Christ, Cinephone, you done fucked up.
You remember what Anaclisi said? She was pissed.
Yeah.
To Xenophon knows she fucked up.
Good God. That's...
She essentially what she said is she was so powerful that she could see so far into the future that she saw how Magitech was essentially like the world was Magitech, like essentially it's everywhere. So due to her own greed, yeah, essentially think like a cyberpunk world, and due to her own lust for power, decided she was going to try to bring that back here.
Yeah, good luck.
And well, the No More's kind of the result of that. And then the Cataclysm as well. So Xenophon is, in a way, directly / indirectly responsible for both the No More and the Cataclysm.
So the Cataclysm was formed because of what formed the No More, right?
Well, like I said, it was an experiment that was being monitored by the continent that was sunk. However, when the continent was sunk, the people that were, doing the experiment weren't exactly there to do the experiment anymore. So it just kept going passively. And as she said, surprised that it took so long for the lightning core to fail. And when it failed, that shot feedback into the aether core, which made a magical disaster. And something Bosk would know, everybody knows this, you just look up at the mountain and there's a perpetual magical storm at the top of Mount Dreadnought. Like it goes into this cloud of storm.
And snow, notably.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm right at home there. Cool.
And yeah, essentially when that happened, it made the shift. Essentially, imagine taking a cracker and just bending both sides inward. Snap right in the middle. And then just rapidly putting it back. And that made such a shift that it sent tsunamis all over the fucking world. Like just a massive tidal wave just wiped out coasts all over the planet. So Xenophon done fucked up. And now she's effectively trying to atone for that. Which she has a lot to atone for.
Trying to unfuck.
Yeah, I can kind of see why she's the 12th seed?
She is the weakest god next to Xenophon. Or next to Anaclisi. So Anaclisi's kind of on death's door and,
As
she's like walking up through its driveway right now to the doors.
Well, Codex will keep the evil Miss Death away. No worries.
Don't worry, Merziver's got that covered.
Just keep her close.
But yeah, you think about it, Bosk, and you're like, wait, she's a lot closer to dying than she comes off. Because you're sitting here and you're thinking about all the damage to her faith and the result of it. You're sitting there like, how close is Xenophon to dying?
Yep. Which is where the next thing that he's gonna ask is, Lady Xenophon, how long do you have?
If I were wishful, perhaps I would say 3 to 4
No.
months.
No wishes. Factual, raw information.
Then immortal time. Most likely 3.
So she has roughly the exact same time as Anaklisi has.
God.
So,
Is that-
so wait, so essentially,
all the progress
I have never, ever, ever regretted me being a fucking reactive talker ever.
Come on, it's
more
fun.
than now. Because if I had fucking opened my mouth and just slapped fucking Azimuth to be like, shut the fuck up, so our pillow lolly doesn't go fucking nuclear, we would only. Fuck!
Well, you have 2 gods making a suggestion, so
Take that as you will.
Fuck.
or as little sense as it makes.
So wait, so Anaklisi said to help Minerva,
Hold on, let me find
and
it real
Xenophon
quick.
saying that as well, but Lady Xenophon,
Yes, boss. Or rather, because you said Lady Xenophon, Storm Herald.
I promised Lady Toriorano that I would help both Anaklisi and you, or I would help both Lady Anaklisi and you, but we are severely pinched for time. You can gonna hear the boss gritting his teeth. In 3 months, we must know
Do not despair.
a substantially short amount of time. We must travel the world and also indirectly help Minerva Schulde too.
I am well accustomed to mortal ingenuity. I believe you will manage.
Here's what 2 of them said.
Is there no way to extend your time, Lady Xenophon?
Alrighty, when
Even by mere days.
Alrighty.
Alright, so that's what the 2 said in pertaining to Minerva.
Yeah. Essentially help her to fucking complete the goddamn mission. This is why I said that we need to do the fucking challenge.
See, they're both saying to help her on her first task for reasons.
Yeah, for the first task.
For
referring
reasons
to
she
the,
cannot say because God stuff.
outside of helping Minerva Schulde. Is there no way to extend your time, Lady Xenophon?
There is one amongst
You-
you who holds the key. However, it is not the time to say.
I see.
I cannot speak further on this matter. However, I have faith in you all.
fuck?
Nothing, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I just accidentally clicked multiple times.
Fuck, that broke my chain of thought.
Sorry.
Oh fuck.
Sorry.
But yeah, essentially she says that she has faith in you all to, make things work out.
Yeah.
And she herself actually roll wisdom at advantage.
Yes. Yes, yes.
No, I want her and her wandering wing to have a happy ending.
Haha, yeah. Gotta work for it then.
I know. I was like, it can't be that bad. You guys throw this shit at us. It's like, okay.
Embrace the
Uh.
sob.
Okay,
Fuck you.
Nice.
after you hear that she told you how much time she has left, you think about it and you're like, wait, she has never brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about it, and you suspect that that's probably because she knows how important Anaklisi is.
Yep.
So essentially, she's considering her fate before her own. Essentially, she herself does not want to die, obviously, but the world cannot lose the Chronicler.
I will address Minerva Schulde about this.
Very good then.
As for
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
real quick.
you, yeah.
See, and you think, in regards to her suggesting you look into Minerva's matter, you think that also pertains to Onyxisi's fate, not her own.
Mm.
So whatever the hell's going on there has something that'll benefit Onyxisi. You guys have no idea, and they can't tell you. Anyway, sorry, go on.
Are you Cinephone?
Yes.
Your understanding of mortals and the way that we fleetingly hold onto our lives. Is the chronicler that important to the world?
Of course. Her role is one that cannot simply be replaced or lost.
Essentially, what she's saying is no god can do what she can do, because she is irreplaceable.
Yep. In that case, there is much to do.
Yes.
After all, no matter what happens, I'm not one to step down on promises I made, much less to gods. I will find a way. No, we will find a way.
I will trust in that.
Bosk stands up, grabs the Katai Kira.
Xenophon gives you a warm smile before her image fades away.
And as she does, you just hear, "Impress me, Storm Herald."
Will certainly try.
Alrighty.
Oh yeah, I
So-
should then ask. Do
Yeah.
they then choose to continue your champion of her will?
Mhm. Will you continue to champion my will?
If it does not chip away from your lifespan any more than it would normally, I will. That is my only condition.
I believe it will not.
In that case, I'm looking forward to our cooperation, Lady Skybreaker.
Very good then. Congratulations. As the Kanagida then starts glowing a teeny little glow a little bit. And stuff happens.
You actually feel like as you're gripping the staff, energy just wash through you. And you feel power within you. The power of lightning that you've always possessed as a dragonborn. Just ambiently there. This feels that much stronger now. You knew before that you wielded power that assisted her. But this time, this is different. You now feel her essence within you, the power of lightning. And that this is what it feels to be a champion of a god. You also stop and think about it, and you're like, oh, you now feel that you have a mental connection with her. As if, like, it feels almost as if she's standing right next to you.
As you will this
just
power.
Bas kind of looks to one side then another, just to confirm that she isn't there, or is and or isn't.
You just feel a light poke.
And you realize that you can probably talk to her through thought.
And Bask says mentally says, and I am supposed to impress this.
As you will this power, it will surely grow, even still. And in turn, so too shall mine.
I shall do my utmost that it will not die out, or wane any further.
One thing I forgot to mention.
Okay. Yeah. Your actions today in battling the champion of Horizontes, it will go a long way in buying me time. The 3 months presently is a result of this, yet the wake has yet to be felt from this battle.
Now, what she's saying, Eric, right now in this moment, she has 3 months. But at the same time, the wake from what you did has not yet been felt. Isn't like it's still going.
Yeah. The impact has landed, the blow has landed, the impact has been felt, but the ripples still move on.
Indeed.
One might say that we are but a storm that is coming.
Yes. The storm is coming.
I need some fresh air. And Bosk heads out the door.
I will now perform some independent research. Call upon me if you should need my aid.
Of course. I shall, Lady Cinephone.
Alrighty.
And then Bosk takes out the sending stone that is bound to his sister, or that the other half of which his sister possesses. Yes, I will fucking wake her up from her goddamn nap. No time to be asleep like the present.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's see.
Like
we
you
can probably handle that after the session.
yeah.
But
So what do you
essentially,
then do
Bosk,
now?
yeah, essentially
Go to
Bosk
bed?
would, yeah,
Sorry,
Bosk
go
would
on.
send her a message and then essentially just head to the joint room that Bosk and Mosmer share and
Mm-hmm.
essentially just hit the bed.
Okay.
Wait, what happened?
As you
Bosk just retreats to
Boss
Ashik.
goes to just die.
Just die,
Dead.
yeah.
alrighty.
Yeah.
As you find yourself in a room, Moldover hasn't come back yet. And you start to ready yourself after waiting a little bit to fall asleep when you hear a knock at the door.
Bosk is like, one eye already like fucking glued shut, opens his other eye and he's like, huh? Walks to the door. Whatever, that you? And opens the door.
On the other side, you see Jasmine.
That's
But not just any Jasmine. A very inebriated Jasmine. With
She's got a
alcohol bottle in her hand.
massive. She's got one, yeah, and she's got a massive flush over her face.
okay.
Gonna let me
Make
in.
a note on this.
Where is that saxophone?
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah, this sounds like the
Of
setup
course.
for that one.
Come on
Can.
in.
Thanks. I can't. I can't be alone right now.
Take a seat. Otherwise you might just fall onto the floor.
Could better balance than that.
fucking projected out.
Come on, inside check that one.
Press
Yeah.
X, what? Oh.
17.
Bosk is just like down.
Should.
Wait, hold on. This isn't realistic enough. Hold on, let me just go ship some
No.
alcohol to
Let's
Penny.
proceed. So what do you do with the drunk Jasmine?
Well, he just inside checked, waiting for you.
All right. So what you learned from that is like she is definitely very out of it. She's seemingly pretty good at keeping her balance, but you watch as there's a slight hitch to it. She's clearly went on it hard.
In short, she is very drunk.
She's drunk as shit.
She's as drunk as a skunk, but not as smelly.
You're actually a little alarmed that she has such good balance being this intoxicated. Because that kind of implies she gets this intoxicated a lot.
It's a nice room. I went through a lot of trouble to get it this nice. Could be able to pay good money. It's very nice. Do you think it's nice?
It is, yes.
I think it's nice. That's good. It's very good. Everything would be good if it was so much nicer. Fucking hate you. We're gonna muck everything up. Hey, you, Bosk. Everything was so much simpler before you came in and upgraded my life. And no, this is me. This is me. Today's been fucking shit. Except I got to see Alicia again. I miss the girl so much. Hated myself for letting her die. Your help knowing I didn't get her killed. I thought I'd finally get some rest today, but I can't relax like this. It's too dark out. I keep seeing shadows in the corners clawing at me. It's like I'm back there in the ruins. Please, don't leave me with the shadows.
Bosk, make a wisdom check at advantage.
However, she couldn't see anything.
Hold on. Because that is scarily good acting.
Mm-hmm.
I just need to collect myself for a bit. I am fucking shaking.
I am still faced.
When you're able to recover, wisdom check at advantage.
Okay. $13.
You can tell quite apparently that experience, when she was in the dark, she couldn't see anything, she couldn't react to anything. That out of everybody there, she was the one that was completely in the dark. And that might have really shaken her to the core. That's experience that she will not soon forget, and in a bad way.
Yep.
You there?
I'm here.
You're really here?
Yes. It is over now. Yes.
It feels so dark.
It was pitch black, but I suppose had we gone out earlier or something, we might have been able to avoid it.
Stay with me for a moment.
I'm sorry, Jasmine.
It's not your fault. I'm just weak. Weak ass. Fucking barmaid. Oh, I've just been too weak.
Who that thing was.
Huh?
Do you often get this drunk?
I've got good tolerance, and no.
But you got drunk because of
I
that
couldn't sleep. I wanted to sleep, but I can't sleep. I don't need sleep, you know? I wanted to, and I can't. It's too dark. She shakes.
We could use a Naklisi.
She shakingly kind of extends her hand towards you. As she then this kind of sits down on your bed and takes her lantern. Come with me, please. I can't trust anything. I don't feel safe. But I don't feel safe, so I need somebody. It's gotta be you. Do you take her hand?
What's she look like right now?
Her face
She
is
actually
just,
looks very serious.
She looks very serious, yeah. She's just kind of still a bit of sweat, and she's still got that very visible flush over her face, and you look at her eyes, and there have been tears. Streaks of tears.
You can tell that she looks very serious, but also very tired.
Mm-hmm. Do you take her hand? She's holding out her hand and her lantern, looking at you. Please.
I don't know why this feels like a Misha moment.
I know what you mean. Roll insight.
Did you say I know what you mean, or I don't know what you mean?
I know what you mean. So I said roll insight.
Yeah, it's like, what the fuck?
See, looking at her, and you think about it, and she says essentially for you to come with her because she doesn't want to be alone right now. Then you look at her lantern, and you think, wait, can she bring other people into that with her? Because you know you've heard of genie warlocks being able to do such things, but the more powerful ones. And as far as you're aware, Jasmine shouldn't be able to do that. But that appears to be exactly what she's offering for you to join her. Because she does not want to be alone.
Okay.
Essentially, she is asking, come with me to my lantern.
Yeah, come with me to my lantern. Just don't get this drunk. At least not enough short while, alright. And Bask takes her hand.
She nods kind of weakly at you, and then, as you do, you watch as she and you your hand in front of you begins turning into water. And as your vision leaves you for but a moment, you then find yourself inside an almost opulent bedroom filled with a couple of stained glass windows, some very nice beds, and just generally a lot of bookshelves and occasional tables in the corner filled with various devices and equipment.
See, and you realize that while Josmo, when you look at her, you can tell based off of her clothing and her general way she carries herself that she has that, Romal Azaman Empire feel to her. But this room looks like something straight out of the Romal Azaman Empire. Like, this has that whole cultural feel to it, as if, like, this is the part of her home she took with her. And she holds it all within this lantern.
A fragment of times past.
Keeps a little bit of a memory with me. I can't see home. Home is with me. Something like that. That's what I told myself.
Well, what better way to carry it than this?
And she just walks over to one of the beds and just practically falls into it.
She just, like, she barely reaches it before she just...
She just fucking died.
So you can tell just by looking at her that she just passed the fuck out. You're actually a little glad that she did make it to the bed, because that would have hurt.
Yeah, that
She
would have
just
hurt on
fucking
the floor.
collapsed.
I would recommend setting her to lay on her side in case she throws up in her sleep.
Yep.
you might want to tuck her in.
Mm-hmm. I know, because that's something that... Yeah, dying in your own puke is not exactly optimal.
No, not the ideal way to go.
Yeah.
That reminds me, Fibes, don't you
Yeah.
have experience with this because you had to deal with drunks in the hotel industry?
Don't remind me of that shit. I've had to
So,
drag naked
boss.
people. Yeah.
What do you do?
Essentially just takes the now dead to the world genie warlock and sets her on the sheets or under the sheets so that she doesn't die on her own puke were she to throw up.
You just
Then
do that with no
and then Bask finds a nice chair and essentially just takes the room in. Be like, wonder if this has any kind of like special significance to her.
Roll perception.
Even though I'm pretty sure I know what this room is about.
Roll with advantage, because why not?
Alright.
God damn it, boss.
Take the 6.
You see that it's a really nice room. You think that there's probably stuff in here important to her, but nothing really sticks out because this isn't your room.
You can ask
you
her
wouldn't
later.
know the significance.
You can ask her later.
Oh yeah, that was
I kick her so that she wakes up and falls to the floor. It's like, tell me everything.
The floor is made of floor.
Mm-hmm.
So how is Bas going to go out now?
She
not
asked for him to
such a
stay there, so essentially you could. There's multiple beds there, so you feel free to sleep. You don't have to stay in the chair.
Yeah, he's just like he's there for a moment thinking about it, and then he's like, "Fuck." I'm literally falling asleep, like sitting up.
The boss, he suddenly realizes, like, holy shit, I am tired.
Yeah, it's like, would be handy to have, like, freaking, literally Gatorade blood. Then he's like, I hope this responds.
Blood.
And Bosk just dies on the other bed.
No, as you are just starting to fall asleep, you hear within your mind. You me?
Oh yeah. Okay. So you're talking about. Are you talking about
thing I
the
sent you.
thing I said? Oh. Right. You hear the voice of a certain little girl. Thank you.
And that is the last thing you hear before you just drift off to sleep. Morziver. So, after, having a bit of fun, a night out with passion, you come back and you have to do a double take. Because you're like, wait, is that Jasmine's lantern? Just sitting there on Bosk's bed.
And Bask is nowhere to be found.
Nope.
Bosk is nowhere to be found, and nor is Jasmine. You actually roll Arcana at disadvantage.
I was gonna ask like potentially like roll investigation to see if like the I don't know, but yeah.
Okay, well you can roll Arcana then we'll go off of that.
Okay, Arcana. Where the fuck is Arcana?
Because Morziver's
Okay.
just like, what?
Okay, 1d. Not 1F, 1d20 plus 4. Arcana.
At disadvantage, so you gotta roll again.
Oh. I didn't
Alright.
see
So
it,
this
so
isn't
it's maybe-
exactly your field of expertise.
Yeah.
Too bad you don't have brain burp to help.
19 with disadvantage. Not bad.
Not bad. So you sit there and you think about it, and you're like, wait a minute. You recall that Jasmine was a genie warlock. And something that some genie warlocks can do is to bring other people into their lanterns with them. And you're just like, oh. And you just kind of smirk a little, and you're like, all right, I'm going to get some sleep. And Mars was just like, I see how it is.
I mean, that's kind of like okay.
Totally
so
not
I guess
misinterpreting the situation at all. Totally not.
I mean, I guess hey, I'm seeing the lamp on Bask's bed, and apparently Jasmine brought him inside. So I'm just saying.
The implications are a little strong. But Morziver's like, it's none of my business and I'm tired. So whatever. And then you pass out and die.
I'll just ask in the morning.
As at this
Yeah,
point,
Morziver just would have took a note and just kind of smirked and just like, huh.
as at this
Although,
point, yeah.
I kind of
Sorry,
although once I came home, I kind of wanted to do a thing, because
Sure,
like you
what's
know
that?
with the whole thing that with the whole ordeal with Anaclesia, I kind of wanted to ask how Odigos was feeling because you know it's her mother and that just happened to her.
Oh, actually, here.
See?
Let me.
Alright.
Yeah, it would happen before I go to bed.
Yeah, so
Gotcha.
after you see that, you just kind of sit down on your bed, and then you, like, lift up the lantern. And, what do you do?
Well, first I ask if she's I guess listening. Are you there? Kind of thing. I mean, she's obviously there.
It takes
But,
a moment, but you hear.
Actually, hold on.
Okay.
So, as you say that, the lantern's blue flame glows a little bit before leaving the lantern, and boop. She pops up right next to you, so surprisingly close to you, actually, and just silently waves at you with a small little wave. But then you hear in your
Okay,
mind,
Oh,
You hear in your mind. Yes. What is it you wish to speak to me about? Or about. I need to remember.
Well, it was more that I was wondering how you were feeling something that happened to your mother. Are you okay?
I believe I'm fine. She looks down for a second and looks up. She seems to be doing well. She is just resting.
Oh, that's good at least. Hopefully we'll manage to save her in time.
Yes. I I think you'll do good. She just
Thank you.
kind of raises her fist up a little bit. Like
Uh-huh.
huzzah kind of thing.
Yeah, I see. Although we kind of like imitate her, like, hey, with kind of same enthusiasm.
Mm-hmm.
Like, good deal of enthusiasm. And then she'd be like, well, then I don't think I have much else to say. It's good that you're doing fine.
She nods. Good night then. And she nods and then turns
You
into
mean,
a wisp.
look, see the thing here?
Oh. As she says that, she then pauses for a moment. Nobody's ever asked me that before. How I am feeling. That's new. How are you feeling? As she just points towards you.
Roll insight.
Okay. Yeah, I should probably have world insight when she said she was fine. But yeah. Can we
Well, you roll
put
insight twice. We'll say the first one's from before and the
Yeah.
second one is now.
Yeah. 1d20 plus 6. Well, in any case, I don't think I would have changed my answer, just my inner thoughts at most.
Yeah.
Like, if she doesn't, feel like talking, that's fine. Okay, so insight. Risk from Audios. Yes. Not
All
too
right.
on your
So
second.
the
Yeah.
first one is when you asked her, "How are you feeling?" You saw her eyes just kind of like go a bit wide, as in like that question like took her for complete surprise. She was not expecting you to ask that. And
Yeah.
you notice a slight hesitation when she said she's fine, which you think that she's not fine. In fact,
Mm,
when you think about it, you think that she's probably a little worried about her mom. But at the
yeah.
same time, you recall what she said, that her mother, you, um, that her mother appears to trust you all more than she's trusted any other mortals. So therefore, she trusts you all. So she's trying not to show her concern because you believe you. She has faith in you all, but obviously, still, that's her mom. Of course, she's gonna be a
Yeah.
little concerned.
Yeah. But yeah, so I guess when
And
more ever like said, oh, uh, I'm just saying like, so I guess when Mother said that it's good that you're doing fine, like he said knowingly then, but he just, since she didn't want to alert us, he wanted to bring it up is the thing. It's all.
He's
and you would not have gotten this without a literal natural 20, but
Hey.
so when she said that nobody's ever asked me that before, you take a close look at her because while she is quite literally just almost drawn in black and white, you take a close look at her facial expressions. And you've spoken to, many men and many women, and you've given them flattery, and you know when people blush that it doesn't just show up on their face, but in their eyes. And you saw the way that she looked when she said that and how her eyes darted around. That if she could blush, she would have a very strong blush right there. So
Aw.
you cannot help but just, inwardly smile and think, that was kind of cute.
Yeah.
Like, she was genuinely flattered by that, because you can easily tell that nobody has ever asked Death how is she feeling.
And when she turned around on you, asking you, "How are you feeling?" there was like this kind of intrigue and happiness
Yeah.
in her eyes.
You think that her having normal conversations is just something that never happens, and she's a little, well, not a little, she's frankly elated that she can actually talk to someone that isn't like, do not take me, now's not my time, or just death and despair. Essentially somebody that doesn't worship her as if she's death itself. Like exactly what she said in that DM. You can really, now that you can see her, you can see exactly what she meant by that. And you're just like, oh, she's being very literal. She has never had someone talk to her like a normal person before. And she's kind of happy. Very happy, actually. It's hard to read, though, because the lack of, color, but you can see it in her eyes. You can see it in the subtlety of her facial expressions that she is very happy right now.
Aw. Yeah, that most of her smile. Like,
And
okay.
she
And
gives a small smile in response.
yeah, so whatever thanks for a bit and well, all of this is happening rather fast. I haven't had the time to properly, I guess, process it all. And to think that an entity from my homeland is trying to kill me is somewhat of a scary thought. But at least knowing that you're
At that, she has a sudden serious look and just clenches a fist.
oh
Roll inside at advantage.
okay, so insight advantage for 6. Okay. Highest one for 6.
Yeah, you didn't need words to know that as soon as you said that, and her response effectively all but screamed as in, I'll protect you.
You hear out
Yeah.
loud.
Essentially, not on my watch.
You hear out loud,
Yeah.
actually. You hear out loud. Won't let.
Yeah, Motherbook has a pretty big smile, almost like almost a chuckle, but because he was actually about to say, yeah, but at least he knows she's here, so he feels much safer.
Yep, and it's pretty apparent that Odagos is looking over you very seriously. Not necessarily just because her mother asked, but she genuinely feels like it. You can tell just with talking with her that you actually roll wisdom at disadvantage.
Oh, hello?
Yeah?
Hello?
Oh,
Roll the wisdom
okay,
at disadvantage.
Okay, wisdom at disadvantage. One moment you cut off, so I was wondering if my chuckle.
No, that was me.
Okay, so
As in the
2d20,
Yeah, I heard
keep
wrong
rolling.
chuckle as in shuckle as in the Pokemon shuckle.
Yeah, sorry, I kind of struggle with making a difference between CH and SH because
Don't worry about it.
that's not a
Just
difference in my language.
Don't worry about it. Just laughing about it.
Oh, wow.
Hey, so hi.
So, you sit here and you think about it, and you're like, wait, she's never really talked with anybody before. She's never really had a real conversation. And it just kind of strikes you really hard for a moment. You're like, wait, Odios has never had a friend before.
I just befriended Death. Hey.
And you think about it, and yeah, you think that you might have some importance to her. Sees you as an important person.
Aw.
And you
Aw.
think about what she said, how that you are really nice to her and you actually appreciate her. And like I said, it's one thing to hear it, it is another to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, with that in mind, you actually feel pretty safe knowing that, Otago sees you as someone special, and she is keeping an eye out for you.
Leave it to the bar to befriend Death.
All right.
Yep.
Congratulations, you're now Deadpool.
Yep, fucking good luck trying to kill the literal person that's being guarded by death.
Next thing you know, the bard's
Hey.
gonna seduce Death.
Like I said, just
I mean-
you wait
I mean,
until you see
hey,
what that
good.
lantern does.
Oh,
hey, lately most of us has been dancing with Death. Now we are taking it to the literal extent.
So what do
I
you
just gotta
do?
go find a ball.
So what do you do, Mozaver?
Okay, what happened in the conversation? So like, I said this and like
Mm.
And then
like,
she
said that she
gave you a
wanted it.
serious look and gave you, kind of like clenched her fists with a serious expression, and she said, "Won't let," as in like, she won't let you die, as in like, she won't let it kill you.
And you came to the
She won't let
realization
that
that
happen.
you came to the realization she's never had a friend before, and clearly you have some sort of significance to her.
Yeah. And yeah, okay, I guess that was skip, but yeah, I said like, yeah, whatever, yeah, I've like replied like, yeah, like that, no, yeah, he was about to come to that, like he, knowing that she watches over him makes him feel a lot safer. he feels safe with her watching over him essentially.
She nods 3 times.
Aw.
And you see her smile, a tiny smile, get just slightly bigger. That made her happy. And you find it kind of, actually really cute that she's not good at expressing happiness. And she probably doesn't feel it that much. It's actually kind of sad. You're just like, wow.
Mm.
There's
Well, I mean-
not a lot out there that makes her happy. Because she's
Aw.
not used to expressing it.
Her job
like-
is also pretty depressing.
Yeah, you all think about that, and you're like, that kind of makes sense, because she's always guiding the souls of people who've died. She's probably seen all kinds of terrible
tragedy,
things and
yeah.
all kinds of people. So
Yeah.
for her to have a bit of smile, for you to be able to bring a bit of happiness to her actually makes you feel really good about yourself, because, like she said it herself, she may be the goddess of death, but even she has feelings.
Exactly. That's also
So
kind of
you
why.
can tell that she appreciates that.
Yeah, that's also kind of why like Moldova checked on her, because this just happened and it probably affected her, and she was thinking about that.
Yeah, she's just. Oh my god, this is so sweet. Most of his interactions are my fucking favorite.
Morziver is like the MVP of RP.
Oh yeah.
And,
They're
and
so
I'm just
good.
like,
You
Aw.
hear
Just
you
like
hear
this
out
Death
loud. You
part.
hear from her lips out loud. Who will? And then she stops. And she looks at you, and then you hear it in your head instead. I don't know what to say. I was going to ask you who you're going to kill, because that's the conversation that most would have with me. But I don't think.
Actually, roll instead at advantage.
Okay, wait. Okay, I had to like check. I have to take a double take, because like the switch from like the regular like her spoken voice, being slow and her, mental voice being like fast, kind of caught me off guard.
That would have like really given some whiplash. Like, wait, what?
Who was that?
Yeah.
Actually, no. This would be.
I mean, this is the second time it happened, so yeah.
Now see, roll religion at advantage.
Religion and advantage. Okay, so +4. So 1, 2d20.
This is something else. Morzor, you said that, and you're like, oh wait a minute, because it's been known that people who've tried to contact Otigos and actually, interact with them, that generally they've only ever done that when they want something from her. Generally for her to kill someone. And so that's what you think that she's saying, is she thought that, oh, you're being nice to me, but then it kind of switched like, wait, no, this is what mortals always do when they're nice to me. So she thinks that you want her to kill someone.
Oh.
That's adorable.
Because
she just, you realize, actually roll insight at advantage.
okay, so okay, like, what did she ask? Like, what did she say? Can you repeat that, by the way?
The first thing when she spoke to you in your mind, she said, "I can't think of anything to say. I was going to ask, who did you want to kill?"
Oh, yeah, because that's what she's used to, I guess. So yeah, she was going to ask that, but she was like, oh, I guess that's not appropriate for the situation.
Not quite.
Kind of. Okay.
Roll insight.
Damn.
See, even with that, and you think about it, and the sudden switch was based off of how her expression was and so on. It's, you thought, oh, he's being nice to me. This is really, really kind of him. But then the sudden switch, almost as it was a realization, like, oh wait, that can't be what it is. It must be this.
Oh,
So you get to
Mother was
realize,
in-
you're like, wait, she just doubted herself.
Aw.
She
Oh,
thinks you must want this.
Oh.
It's like, essentially, imagine it's like, he couldn't have possibly meant this. It must be this.
Oh.
I actually feel a little sad at that.
You're a bard.
Aw.
Bring on the jokes. I'm kidding.
But yeah, Mother would like kind of be slightly of going like, oh, I didn't mean anything like this. I just wanted to see how you're doing because of what happened.
Her eyes just go wide.
Yeah.
She actually looked kind of shocked. Actually, roll inside at advantage.
And no, I'm not gonna let the whole Bard seducing everything joke go.
You're a little impressed because you just managed to shock death. She is looking at you in utter disbelief. As in, like, she's genuinely not, just can't believe what just happened.
But can she believe that it's not butter?
She can't believe Morzaver does not have butter. But no, in the sense that you genuinely did not want anything from her. She's shocked because apparently you actually roll wisdom at advantage. No, wait, no, this is intelligence.
Because you had no ulterior motives, right?
Yeah, no, he does not. Literally, his entire motive, like, like, Anaklisi just did that. I wonder how, like, her little daughter feels. That's literally was the entire thought. So, what did you say?
Roll intelligence at advantage.
Okay, ability check, intelligence, +4.
Fucking die.
Okay,
now roll wisdom.
Okay, wisdom. So that's wisdom official. Yes.
Oh, this would be at advantage. Because
Okay.
she's kind of easy to read right now.
2d20, keep highest one, +6. Whiz.
Wait, general wisdom or insight?
No, this is wisdom.
Yes.
All right, so you sit here and you think about it, and based off of what you've heard in regards to people interacting with Odigos, and you kind of put two and two together here, and you don't think she's ever talked with anybody that has not had an ulterior motive before, and that is why she is so shocked. And you think about it
Yeah.
a little bit more, and you're like, wait a minute. Am I like the first person she's ever talked to that didn't want something from her? Because that sure seems to be the case.
Oh, that's both sad and kind of shocking, considering how nice she is.
Yeah, like she's really shocked. She actually like covers her like mouth with both hands. However, roll perception.
Perception. Okay. Perception plus 6. 1d20 plus 6. Perception.
It's very faint, but you see the corners of her hands, little bit of her mouth. She's smiling, but she's trying to hide it. And actually,
Aww.
poof. She turns into a blue flame, goes right back into her lantern. Very suddenly.
I think you embarrassed her.
well, most of it kind of it's like take a moment to realize that she went back into
Roll insight.
Okay, insight plus 6.
At advantage because you're a bard. You're used to this shit.
2d20. Keep highest one plus 6 insight.
You think about it and you're like, wait a minute. I mean, your face, just kind of curls into a smile because that was a flustered girl running away from a situation she doesn't know how to handle.
Aww.
You've seen this happen many times to women you've spoken to or seen other people speak to, that they just got really embarrassed, flustered, they just ran away because they didn't know what to do. And you're like, I just made a god flustered and run away because she didn't know what to do. You found that to be very cute because you didn't know gods to do that. It really hits you like, wow, the gods are a lot closer to us than you think. And then it kind of hits you like, wait a minute. That is like exactly what Minerva said, exactly what Azimuth said in regards to, mortals and gods being closer than they think, because they have feelings and expressions too.
Yeah.
And you just saw right there a perfect example of it.
Mozziver, why don't you
Yes?
take 4 charisma experience for the heck of it?
So what do you say?
Why don't you take 4
4 charisma
charisma experience?
Nice.
And so with that, feeling pretty good.
Also, go on.
That's why you're going.
No, go on first. I want to see what you say.
Well, like I said, I'm about to wrap it up, but like I said, so you go first.
Okay. So, yeah, I was gonna say, moreover, like before going to bed, like because like the interaction is done and stuff like that. So yeah, he would have like said good night to Odigos, like
And so, feeling pretty good about yourself because you just made someone else feel really good. You go to sleep pretty easily because you feel pretty like you just did a good thing for someone.
Yeah. This little interaction just made him feel better too.
Yep. And with that is where we end today's session with everyone having gone to bed.
We'll pick up there next
We will
time.
pick up next time in the morning.
Is it Thursday yet?